Tony goes into fucking overtime. Were we on? Yeah. We were staying with it. We're going to. We've got 5 seconds left.
Waiting, and then they have the most weak little torture.
Yeah.
We're out of time.
Hello and welcome back to the only wrestling podcast that exclusively rebooks, reviews and reimagines the worst of wrestling's past. We are Better Call Creative, and as ever I am joined to my left by Uncle Monkey. It's Jack Chance.
Hello.
And to my right by Veal, it's Sam Chance.
Hello. Okay.
Did we caught up?
Yes.
Yeah. If you would have checked out the in-depth roster of WCW Thunder, you will notice Veal and Uncle Monkey. And I am your host, Benji. Yeah.
Uncle Monkey isn't a monkey though, is he?
No, it's a man.
To man.
I'm a man.
Is that one?
I'm not a fish.
It's going to be one of the island production people.
Yeah. They may appear in my fantasy card later. So there you have it, folks. But yes. That Easter egg there was for WCW Thunder, and that
rants.
Well, that's true. You might have a rant or two during it, to be honest. But that is the subject for our first 2023 podcast. Are you excited?
Happy New Year.
Are you excited for the year ahead in wrestling, Jack?
Yeah.
Are you excited to keep up to date on what is happening in the 2023 wrestling through, Jack?
Yeah. Not much will change.
No.
I don't think.
No. Well, by the time we release this thing, he might have won the Royal Rumble. Jake Paul or Baron Paul or Ross Paul or
Rolf Harris.
Rolf Harris ain't coming back in the Rumble, is he? Anyway, I don't know, we got really off track here, but we are going to be checking out WCW Thunder, which debuted on the 8th of January 1998, which will make it 25 years old. A quarter of a century ago.
The show no one wanted.
And the show no one wanted, including us, debuted. But we will be bookending that with the last ever WCW.
I thought we was watching all 154 episodes.
Have you watched them all?
I've watched them all.
Oh, no!
I've got a big book here.
I'll ask you your thoughts on which is a better show afterwards, but had you seen both shows previously?
The first one, yes. The last one, no.
Something to look forward to. How about you, Jack? Did you
bits of both.
Yeah.
I've never sat down and fully watched them end to end.
Well, we have now, but we're going to be opening up with the first, because that's the way we roll. We're heading back to the 8th of January 1998, UK number 1.
98. Was it still a Christmas song?
I said the word perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect. It's a perfect day.
Oh, God. That was the
I thought that was for.
I thought it was for Children in Need.
I thought it was as well.
It was a Christmas number 1, I think.
Oh, was it?
97.
What a perfect day. Great. It's so good. In 1997, Princess Diana died, and America never got over it. So, US number 1. Still number 1.
Get over it.
Titanic topped the box office both sides of the Atlantic. And Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes was released.
Number 1.
Yeah. Is that number 1? Clash of Superheroes.
Yeah.
It hasn't got a number, so I'm
sure. Number 2. That's called Marvel v Capcom 2.
That's a good point. Really well thought out sequel there. DSX covered the WWF magazine. It would have been Shawn, Triple H and China.
Oh,
don't know whether Ricky Rude was on it. We might see a bit of Ricky Rude later.
Or when there was like had the wigs on or something, or was that the other?
They were just on the top of the stage. And Sean was wearing a lot of like beige. He had a beige shirt, a beige. It was beige.
Hot beige kid.
I think they had that as a secret attire on Attitude.
Better than his brown tights he wore his own too.
And the best cover I've ever seen is Brett just looking confused why he's there.
Yeah.
He's like,
I think that happens.
he literally is like, what the fuck is happened here? I think he started having his stroke the day
he turned up on Thunder. That's the reason. I think that's it. Worry because he wanted more stars for it, and Brett was going to be like the
face of Thunder.
Well, he didn't feel like the main one in this show, did he? Really?
No, not really.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Talk about it. West Bromwich Albion, I'll give you a clue. I went to this. It was a night match. It was freezing cold. It was Tranmere.
It's always bloody Tranmere.
Yeah, it's Tranmere. I'll tell you why.
You lost.
I'll give you... Remember that statement. It's always Tranmere.
Well, there you go.
Because
I've got a feeling that we play him in the cup now in the weekend.
Well, West Bromwich Albion drew 0-0 with Tranmere. I was there. We missed a penalty in Hamilton. Penalties quite raw at the moment, missing penalties. And Liverpool beat Wimbledon 2-0. You didn't always beat Wimbledon as well.
That was one of our mountains for some reason.
Yeah, they always struggled with those wombles.
Wombles. Bloody wombles.
But yes, that gives you a snapshot of where the world is. Remember that for where we end up in 2001.
Oh, I think I know what you meant by it.
Yeah. Classic WCW Thunder theme plays, which is much better than the one we will get.
Better than what we get.
Yeah. And there is also a bit of star power in the opening package as well, which we don't kind of get later on either.
Yeah.
Tony tells us that for 25 years, TBS and WCW have brought you the best in wrestling. I'm thinking, no. Black Scorpion.
Seriously. It's sort of like the reverse of AEW, ain't this?
The
main show on TNT stays there, and the second show on TBS instead of moving
over.
For over 25 years, professional wrestling and TBS have combined to bring you the absolute best in sports entertainment. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight we unveil a brand new era. Tonight we welcome you to Thunder.
There's a big pyro. We might as well talk about it now. The set, crap, awful.
It's alright.
I prefer.
I don't quite understand it thematically though. What is it supposed
I don't know what it gets.
What does a brick wall have to do with Thunder?
Yeah, but it can't have a cloud, can it?
You could have like lightning bolts and all
Well,
sorts.
it does have the lightning bolt to begin. I thought they was going to do it on every entrance, but they only did it on the best, the only one that matters.
We're in Daytona Beach, and set yourselves in, folks. It's 3 hours. Bobby Heenan and Tony the Tiger, or with Tony Schiavone, otherwise known as Albion's first ever Premier League goal scorer, Lee Marshall.
Should have had him instead.
Tony hypes us seeing what happened at the end of Starrcade. Now, it's a bit of a trope of WCW to not start the show for fucking ages.
Yes, Jesus Christ. Macho Man's not here. This is the first match.
Who booked this then, you stupid fool? There's a weasel chant, and Tony tells us we will see the whole match between Bischoff and Zbyszko.
Why did you book it for 3 hours? And don't bother buying
I know he didn't. Did you sit through it again?
I watched bits.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we've done it, and I thought, I ain't watching this crap again.
I was the same. Macho Man isn't here yet, so we get to see the NWO arriving at Nitro.
In two separate limos.
And the split is hyped. Bischoff whispers with Hall, and the way this split works is you would think that Hall, Bischoff, Savage are splitting from Hogan and Nash and Vincent. But that's not what happens.
No,
okay.
It's Nash and Savage, that's split.
Macho Man hasn't showed up yet. Marshall has never seen this happen before, apparently. He's never ever seen someone not turn up before. Nick Lambros makes a stilted announcement on that Nitro, telling us that basically any wrestler who violates the rules will lead to a suspension or a fine. Remember this. It's a theme throughout the episode. This covers the NWO crew as well, because they're WCW contracted workers, obviously.
The way
WCW,
it's
they love
story.
these fucking long monologues to catch everyone up. A third package now shows J.J. Dillon suspending Nick Patrick. Well, at least until the footage of Thunder. So that's a hell of a...
He suspended him for 2 days.
Yeah, at least until Thursday. You are suspended.
You're suspended until our next show.
You've basically just given me 2 days off.
It's not the final package, though, because the fourth package shows Luger...
The total package.
Well, this
the
is...
final package. Yeah.
This is the fourth package, which shows the total package win with a small package.
A lot of package.
On Savage. Savage goes mental, which is fun. Grabs a chair, drags Dave Penza, who... Oh, poor Dave Penza.
He did that a lot.
Yeah, he goes to hit Luger, but Bischoff blocks him, so Savage just decks him. Hogan comes out, so Savage slaps Hogan. Nash then clotheslines Savage.
And Hogan had a go at Nash.
I mean, Jesus, and walks out. I mean, finally, we get some star power. Music plays, Rule Britannia or some derivative of it.
Some fruity.
Fucking gentleman Chris Adams from the fucking 70s is out with his grey pants that he's obviously put in with a black shirt.
I was going to say, I bet they was blue and he's just washed him too many times.
He gets the first ring walk of Thunder and he looks so old. I love the fact that Marshall keeps it really topical with a reference to the cartoon strip Pogo that no fucker's ever heard of. Even Enan's going, well, what the fuck's that?
What a way to start a new show.
This might be the first, but it certainly won't be the last time we hear Roadhouse play, as Savage has finally arrived, and she's with Smiley Happy Liz. And Chris Adams, he's got a big old fat arse. I'll tell you what, he has got a big old bottom.
I didn't really look at his bum.
So, our opening match of Thunder's history is Macho Man Randy Savage versus Chris Adams. Savage decks Chris Adams, and after a clothesline, Savage stops a pinfall. So immediately he's won, and he's highlighting, I have won this match with a clothesline. Savage chokes away at Adams, lays in some stomps. He hits a gut wrench as Tony immediately starts reading the card. Savage again stops a pinfall. The ring skirt has a big Stonewall style thing. I didn't see the hieroglyphics, but
that was on the set. Boy.
Oh, on the set.
I just saw some weird man carved into the brick.
It looks terrible. Savage drops Adams on the railings on the outside. Adams does get his first bit of offense as he reverses an Irish whip, and Savage goes into the ring post. Luger is out. He cracks Savage with a chair. I can't believe this happened. Did you two know this happened, by the way?
I did. I knew that he won by DQ, but I didn't realise that he actually pinned him.
Yeah. So he throws Savage in. Adams covers him. Adams wins, and in my mind, nothing else happened.
Yeah,
amazing.
I mean, I must admit, I hadn't seen it, so I saw the card. I thought, obviously, it's a bit of a squash match. So I popped. I was like, fucking yes, amazing. I mean, obviously, it was what it was, but it was.
Maybe that's the only way they go to Savage. We want you to the job. I'm going to be beat up first.
He might have had some respect for Adams as well, because I'd imagine. I mean, he's so old, he could have.
He did train a few as
well. Your dad.
I fought your granddad.
Thoughts on our opening Thunder match?
Well, I wouldn't have opened with Chris Adams if you've got a completely new show. I would have opened.
When you look at the rest of the card, there's other matches you could have.
I mean, obviously, at
if
this
you're
point,
going to have this, where somebody's getting a visual win over Savage, you might as well have had it as a young person who's going to have a career after, like a Benoit,
like a Chris Adams,
a Saturn, a Ray, and Jericho. Not a Chris Adams, who probably does nothing else in his WCW career.
No, he just randomly appears on these shows to job.
And the fact that they took 10 minutes before anything happened on the actual in the arena.
Yeah.
It is decent storytelling, because again, it's getting over that the story thread throughout WCW at the moment is this sort of get people getting involved in the issues with NWO.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I mean, I'm so happy that it was Chris Adams in many ways, but from a storytelling perspective, it's so stupid. It's such a waste.
It feels like it fits with the Thunder.
No one watches it. No one watches that shit. Let's
fucking Wayne Bloom's going to be it in next week. Sam?
It was what it was. It was a job match where the jobber won.
Welcome to WCW.
Yeah. Where the big boys play
and lose. Roadhouse plays for the second time.
Rockhouse.
Oh, Rockhouse. I keep calling it Roadhouse.
You know, crazy.
That makes me laugh as well because I was talking to my Alexa the other day saying play Roadhouse, NWO thing. She was having fucking none of it. And I was getting more and more round up. And actually now I'm realising it's fucking Rockhouse. She's going home at night telling her husband, this fucking twat keeps shouting Roadhouse.
It could have been worse. The Alexa could have just kicked you like Peter Griffin does when you got Roadhouse.
So Rockhouse.
Rockhouse.
For this. I've always thought it was Roadhouse, so there you go. Hogan, he works a Thursday for probably the first and last time. He walks out with Bischoff.
You got to pay me more here on Thursday, brother.
In fairness to Lee Marshall, he does do a nice job of putting over Hogan not looking his usual self without the gold title.
He doesn't look like himself. He's not stuck with a belt. Give someone else the belt. Yeah.
Hogan steals a kid's Sting mask and sort of makes a fake cry with it, but he is kind enough to give it back.
Yeah, have it back, brother.
What a heel.
Yeah, well, to be honest, considering probably we mentioned this during Starcade, that we did do Starcade. I can't find my notes where I've put them.
Well, there's a match at Starcade that happened and I'd forgot. He replayed or highlighted in this, and I'd forgot we'd watched it. So,
I was very confused, but
I think it was the Scott Norton one. I think didn't Scott Norton fight Luger at Starcade?
Oh no, I think he fought DDP, didn't he?
Oh, I can't remember.
But it's sort of like this is what pissed me off with Hogan in this. For 18 months, he was scared of Sting.
No, he's not.
No, he's not bothered.
Yeah. Well, welcome to WCW, where jobbers win the opening match and Hogan talks a lot. I love the Heenan scum. As soon as Hogan stepped in, he just went scum.
At least Heenan's keeping this feud going.
That's what I mean.
On about 20 years by this point.
I think the Dungeon of Doom were right about Hogan. That's all I'm saying. Bischoff announces again. We're sort of told that Bischoff had always teased initially that there was an issue with Bischoff and Hogan, which obviously there isn't. Bischoff announces Hogan as the WCW champion of the world. Bischoff tells us tonight that he's going to get his belt back. Hogan tells us that all the women on Daytona Beach told Hogan he beat Sting. 1, 2, 3.
Beat Sting, brother. So the women told him, but the men just went, fuck off.
We don't fucking like you. I mean, if that was right, fair play to him. And to be fair to the women, he did beat him 1, 2, 3. We also saw it.
We saw it. He shouldn't have. Yeah. And I still maintain that is the worst Starcade main event. I am carrying this out.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good point. Hogan tells us that a really slow 3 count will be shown over again tonight, which I can't believe they replayed it and didn't speed it up.
Yeah, but can you imagine it like a fast forward thing going on?
They could have done something though, couldn't they? I mean, when Hogan lost to Piper, they just said it didn't happen because the tape was lost.
So why don't they do that for the WCW side and that, you know?
I don't
because it's meant to be like them fighting back, which Luger does say, after a year and a half we've had our arses kicked. It's about time we started doing something. Shouldn't you have done this 18 months ago?
Fair play, Luger. Hogan tells us he's too big and too tanned.
He is really tanned.
But that might be a little bit of inside baseball as well, because Bischoff didn't like that Sting wasn't tanned, obviously.
Yeah, I don't really get that. I mean,
he's covered up.
Did you see Chris Adams in the first match?
He doesn't look that bad when he comes out after.
But
he's out at all.
Well, it's right what somebody said. He goes, he's been hiding in the rafters for 18 months. If he comes out with a tan, people might think, how do you get a tan
up there? Covered in like bat shit and stuff.
All bunch of shit. Considering dust. We cobwebs all over him.
Sting
Don't stop Sting. He's got to fight.
Hogan puts over Sting's new merch, talking about the masks, and it looks like he's crying. He tells Sting he never beat him, but he does lose steam a bit as he rhymes toes with nose and turns into an old sea dog. It's such a waste of time.
Hogan promos usually.
Well, I guess it's 3 hours, so you got to fill it. And we immediately go to a WCW Saturday night build, which I can't believe was still a thing with night.
I think that was
the
yeah, and that was the very last show in WCW, not Nitro. It was that. There's a clip on YouTube of I think it's Mike Tenay and. What's his face? The bald bloke who was
the
bottom. I don't know what the main event was, but it's just basically them two just going by.
I'd have loved that if the last match was like, Norman Smiley versus Chris Adams.
No, it'd have been Vincent. It'd have been Vincent, Mr. Saturday Night himself.
Well, Mr. WCW Thunder, James J. Dillon, is out to be interviewed by Mike Tenay. He says he's going to hold people accountable, so he reverses the decision, and I was so angry at that. I was like, fuck you!
Don't take it away from Chris.
In the back, he should have been in tears, poor lad.
That's why they Chris Adams go, no, I'm having this.
Savage beats Adams by DQ, fuck off. So yeah, Luger is out to shit on Dillon, saying he's done nothing for ages, and he's damn sick and tired of him, and now he's deciding to do shit. Tells us WCW is taking matters into their own hands.
JJ Dillon was in WF for the first part.
He asks where they were when he got attacked by Norton at Starrcade, and that was what I couldn't remember it. No, I can't. I
thought he fought Bagwell and lost, and then.
Oh, did Norton attack him then?
I don't know. Well, we saw on Thunder.
He gets fed up and walks off anyway. That's the best way to end it. So, our next match, bear in mind, Chris Adams was in the first. Louis, I look 45, but I'm probably 14. Spicoli is out.
I'm sure he dies not long after this. I know he dies in 98.
Jeez, he don't look in the best.
Yeah, there's a lot of pills.
In yeah.
He's got a t-shirt.
He's got a t-shirt that says "The Real Innovator," which I didn't really understand. I thought that was all right, and then I saw the back of it, and I just thought, well, you're limiting your innovation if you tell us.
The Death Valley right?
Take that, Tommy Drew.
I like his taunt as well of pulling his ear.
I've got an itchy ear.
Sexy boy Rick Martel is out.
Yeah.
He's out to some lovely porno music.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
He's recently made his debut, by the way.
He has in WCW.
Who picked him up in 98?
I love Rick.
That's good, though.
I love Rick Martel, but fuck me, he's had his bed. His days have passed him.
His days have passed him, but he's still,
but I mean, who went like 3 years after he'd left the Fed when, why don't we sign Rick Martel?
And put him in a feud with Louis Spicoli.
Well, he wins a belt.
Yeah, he's a TV
champion, but he does get injured. During this match, you can see he's not okay with these rings.
No, yeah.
These rings are too small.
Yeah. So, Tony tells us Martel made his debut last week, which I literally went, what? Spicoli avoids a Martel right hand and gets a clothesline to the outside. Martel hip tosses, 2 drop kicks on Louis. Louis walks it off, but he's caught and sent back in. Louis lays in punches as Raven and his flock head out. That's never really brought up again.
No, they don't do anything.
No,
they should have recruited Rick Martel.
What would they have called him?
I don't know. What they call Rick? What are you going to call Rick, Sam?
I'm trying to think.
Tie-dye. Because he's really dyeing his fucking hair. It's fucking grey, I'm telling you. It's fucking Lego head.
Old Martel.
Crossbody by Martel for a 2. On the back of Louis Spicoli's t-shirt, I saw is the real innovator of the Death Valley Driver. It just made me laugh because I just thought, just have the real innovator as your nickname. Yeah. Don't then say like of the clothesline or something stupid.
I invented this move.
Yeah. Okay. You needed a shirt for that. The commentary team do not give 2 fucks about this match. No. They're completely ignoring it. Martel avoids an atomic
Where's Hogan?
He hits a very, very poor spine buster. I think that was because he didn't expect him to be back as quick as he was. And the Boston Crab, or it's called the Montreal Crab.
Montreal Crab,
yeah. He's locked on, and Louis Spicoli is now below Rick Martel in the pecking order. Again, Louis Piccoli, young man, upside, Rick Martel, 45. Our 2 opening contests have been won by the veteran, in my eyes anyway.
By the age of 100.
Yes. And yeah, Rick Martel goes over. I'm going to start with you, Sam, because he's your boy, so you've got to defend this.
Well, it's the wrong person for him. Louis Piccoli, who is clearly in his bulldog phase.
Should have been wearing his
Yeah.
Where's my title shot?
But I liked it. Because it's Martel.
But no heat. It wasn't very fluid and pretty pointless as a match. What was the purpose of this? To reintroduce Rick Martel, a very known character to the WCW audience. To be honest, this is a spot I can understand some of the matches where you're just sort of getting the character over. Rick Martel didn't need that, so in which case, why sacrifice Louis Piccoli in an absolute waste of time match? I'd have rather have been pushed straight into a feud. He should have attacked the Giant. Let's just
should have interrupted Hogan. Put him in the crowd.
He should have walked down in an NWO.
Oh God!
Or it should have been the model world order in the MWO, bro. Yeah, I will always defend Martel because he's such a solid worker. I thought Louis Piccoli, I've been told he's a good worker. I've not seen a lot of him.
Off these.
Yeah, based on this, fuck me, yeah. But yeah, it was pretty pointless.
It was pointless sport.
Jack.
It was very good. I mean, when I saw the match, I thought, what the fuck is this? Who booked this shit? And I was proven right by the fact that it was very good. It wasn't that they did anything particularly bad, but they never did anything to make me interested in Louis Piccoli or Rick Martel. So it was just a match for the sake of a match.
Yeah.
Rick Martel is now 3-0, I think it is. He's got a streak. So and the flop thing just made it even more confusing because it felt like a match just to show that.
But it does lead to Saturn feuding with Martel.
Well, I thought
they have like a 3-way feud for the team.
Yeah, I know.
Because you'd have thought Louis Piccoli would have been a nice fit for the
fight. He's already got the drugs.
Yeah, exactly. The dealer. He could have been called.
I think it was
Smack.
Could have been called Smack.
Louis Smack only.
The real innovator of Smack.
I want to say we get a quick recap, but we get a full recap of the Giant taking out Hall instead of Nash because Nash. Now, I swore he said that he couldn't go because he was injured because he pulled up his thing.
He fucking
fought twice since then. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, there's a conflicting report saying he got injured when he was picking up a bag that he didn't realise had a dumbbell in it or something. Then there's another report saying he went to the hospital because he thought he was having a heart attack.
He said that though, didn't he?
Yeah. Because his dad died of a heart attack when he was young, so he has got history of that, family history, but obviously he must have used that like, I lost my smile. I'm going to have a heart attack.
Jesus.
Why don't you just say I tore my quad?
Well, anyway, next match, Tenzin is out into the NWO theme. Tenzin was one of the original NWO Japan members.
Yeah, in the show, no worries.
Today's here, thankfully, to fill us in because them fuckers ain't.
Yeah, there you go, please.
Any Japanese or Mexican man get Mike today.
And his opponent is Jamie O'Hara. Oh no, sorry, it's O'Hara, who's out with Sonny Ono, who's feuding with the NWO Japan.
But he's a heel.
Yeah, it's so confusing because O'Hara surely is the face.
He should.
Why is he dressed like Raiden?
The heel.
Yeah, he plays the heel. And he's dressed like Raiden.
Right. Yeah. And he came shouting, O'Hara!
It's a Pokemon.
And he's still got the spray paint on his back.
Oh, I love that. I love that gimmick. The fact that they call him a dog and spray painted the
he's like, I'm a dog.
Symbol for dog. And he just thought, well, I'll keep that.
What? It gives me a gimmick.
Oh, amazing. Heenan mocks him anyway. And he's the face. O'Hara has kept the spray paint on his back, which I'll say is dog. O'Hara chops and headbutts Tenzin. He's completely dominated early on. I think if he grew a little bit of a twirly beard, he'd look a bit like you.
When I saw him, I thought, that looks like me.
Show us your back. Have you got a little dog on it?
It'll look like him or Phil Collins.
Yeah, Jack's just got it's
Or on job.
KFC sprayed on.
Got the kernel on that.
Tenzan hits a double chop, a slam, and a standing chop. There's a nice spinning heel kick by Tenzan. Oh no, heals this up, which, as Jack said, confuses the fuck out of who's heel and face. Holds the leg of Tenzan. O'Hara catches him with a lariat. There's a standing powerbomb, which does only get a 2. A Brett rope chop by Tenzan, and then a spike slam, top rope headbutt, and Tenzan has beaten O'Hara.
I mean, you know, it ain't a bad match, and the feud has been happening in Japan, but no one knows what the fuck's going on.
I just think you're
It's
literally
just
taking a fairly hot crowd and just literally draining. It's
You know,
like Shang Tsung's taken the soul of this
Well,
crowd.
following this on from Louis and Rick seems stuff.
Mm.
And if you're going to have this, where it's a match for the sake of a match with the international stars, you might as well have just had the cruiserweights because at least everybody knows who they are.
Well, I could understand
Well,
maybe establishing Tenzan if Tenzan's then going to be used within the NWO.
I don't think
But
it
they,
is.
they even said the last time we saw Tenzan in WCW was at Starrcade 95 against Matt Jaman.
3 years ago. Why don't they recap that?
I just
That's the
think
whole
surely
match.
this show would have been better suited to being a 2-hour show if you ain't got the roster depth to fill it. Just don't fucking give us
You
these.
don't want-
Like, we're about an hour in now, and we ain't seen nothing. I mean,
we ain't.
literally other than a Hogan fucking promo.
No, but Mel took it in 5
This
stars.
No
was
problem.
It's more a bad match.
Not bad.
Both of these
Very Japanese when they were just slapping each other.
Really solid. But the thing is, I mean, there ain't much. When you're an American company and you're picking Japanese stars, you have to pick certain Japanese stars. Certain Japanese stars ain't going to get over. O'Hara is never going to get over.
Oh, we got over with me. I think I found a boy.
I'll tell you one thing. He ain't hand.
Put the bell on you.
Dogs don't tan.
I quite like Tenzan's mask though when she come out with.
Yeah, I think he just had that.
And then he looked less impressive.
We'll see that later on as well. On,
You're just
3 years
a Japanese man with a bullet.
So we see another recap of Flair and Brett's confrontation from Nitro.
At least he wore from Starrcade.
We didn't see the whole thing. More on that later. And I felt it felt a bit stilted. More on that later. Jericho's WWF theme plays. We get a few shots of the flock who are still there, just so you know they haven't left yet. Jericho
They ain't got bored of this show and left already.
Oh, they only came for the first hour, the dickheads. Jericho heads out with a suit and a coat hanger. He tells us, I like the fact that they're at the very least now giving him character.
Yeah, he just turned heel, hasn't he?
He's a shamed man, but now he's a changed man. Because I think his behaviour has been atrocious. Did he rip the suit of
yeah,
Dave Penn?
I think who is it? Tony the Tiger said, "Did we hear this on Monday?"
Said he's a role model and he's sorry. He gives Dave Penzer a new suit. He promises it will never.
Suit jacket.
Yeah,
Just the jacket. You've got to pay for your own trousers.
Hopefully they rip them.
That would have been so heel to hurt if I'm going to rip your trousers.
He says it'll never happen again. I love that the people in the crowd who spell woo who. Fucking.
Or is it woohoo?
What's the name, mate? It's fucking
Is
Grinch.
it Mario Grinch? But apparently as well, Flair has said legally he has copyrighted woo, but it's with 5 O's. That's how you spell it.
If you put 6 yourself, you ain't got to pay
Yeah, if
royalties.
you put 6 or 4, you're alright. But if it's 5,
He's listening, isn't he? Hang on, there was only 5 hours in that. They owe me some money.
The Yanks, man, they just copyright everything. What's all about?
Tony tells us that it's the first match between these two.
copyrighted a noise.
You can't make that noise. You owe me money.
Oh dear. So
play me wife.
finally this show gets an injection of star power as Ric Flair and Jericho. He backs up Flair immediately. There's a woo from Flair. Jericho monkey
With
flips.
5 O's.
Yes. Spin kicks and drop kicks down the Nature Boy. There's a back body drop and boos from the crowd, so you can feel that they're turning Jericho. Flair suckers in Jericho, selling his ankle and then pokes him in the eye. Brilliant spot. Jericho recovers to send Flair into his corner bump, and then he hits a springboard drop kick. Suplex back in as Heenan stumbles over calling Flair the best ever. Because I think he wants to call him the best, but they're probably telling him you can't call him the best because obviously there's this storyline about him being the best. And I don't think he quite knows what the fuck to say.
He's all right. I don't think he cares.
Yeah. Hasn't got it a year. Lion Salt is missed though. Flair low blows Jericho. Charles Robinson does a convenient job of just sort of going to the corner.
No, I think what he did, he asked him how long was left. That's what he used to do. He used to say, "What's the time?"
The ref then has to walk away.
That's a good spot, though.
It's like old school heel because obviously that's what he did. Because he did it World War III '95 against Sting and threw him over the top. Even though that wasn't.
I thought they was doing what happens in 3 years, where for whatever reason sometimes they just go and wander off and have a go at a crowd. Yeah. More on that later as well. Big chest chops from both in the corner, and we rehash the back body drop. Diving spinning elbow gets a 2. Flair dodges a second dive. The figure 4 leg lock is locked in. I'm immediately thinking, well, this is going to be rolled out of. And Jericho immediately taps. Tony calls this, I swear on my life, and I'll splice this in.
Wins! One of the biggest wins it's got to be in his career.
Tony calls it the biggest win of Ric Flair's career.
It could very well be.
Because he actually won with the figure 4. But he has beat Jericho. Jericho seems to be the only one who he beats with the figure 4. He did it at SummerSlam 02. Because I think according to Jericho, they were saying, they wanted him to win.
Yeah.
But he said, no, you beat me with a figure 4, it's your finish. So, because obviously he was saying, I never win with it. I thought, well, didn't you watch the first Thunder? You actually beat him with it.
Jericho heals it back up. He again throws his temper tantrum and rips off Penz's new jacket. Poor jacket. Poor Penz. Jack, thoughts on that match?
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. I enjoyed it, obviously. I expected it to be good, and it was. It was short, it was sweet. It got Jericho over. He'd lose it to a credible start. Do I think he needed to fight Flair? Probably not. He could have fought somebody else who was less of a star because the whole match really is about Jericho.
I think they're just trying to build up because obviously they're feeding Flair to Brett and doing all the best stuff.
Yeah,
they just need to build Flair up with.
It just seems a bit soft. That I just think he don't need to have smash Flair.
Probably not, but I think one man needs a W and one man needs an L because of what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
So he just kind of fits, and it's a nice match. I would have liked to see it go another 5 minutes because you could have definitely cut. You could have cut the previous match and given.
You could have cut a lot of the recap.
Well, that's the thing that annoys me is that there's no sort of mammoth match in this show. Where a 3-hour show, you do kind of need a 20-minute match.
I don't think there's anything that goes above 10.
No. But it was fine. A good TV match. Both of them working well. Jericho fleshing out his character. Yeah, as good as we've seen, definitely so far.
Yeah, definitely at this point. Yeah, good match. Can't really say anything different, really.
Well, out comes Meng.
At least there was no recap.
Yeah.
Meng out there.
Jimmy Hart's still with Meng.
Jimmy Hart,
they're still in the Dungeon of Doom.
It's just the faces of fear. I think the Dungeon of Doom dead. It's just Meng and Bob.
Meng and Bob.
Yeah, the tag team, yeah.
Jimmy Hart.
And then Brian Knobbs later on when he comes back.
Jesus. Jimmy Hart walks into the ring as Tony tells us Brett versus Flair has been booked for the next pay-per-view. The Giant probably gets one of the biggest pops. I mean, it is easier to hear because he doesn't have a theme, but he does kind of
get
on
the face side, though, isn't it?
Nah.
But don't worry, in a couple of months, he's in the NWO again, smoking.
And in a year, he's in the WWE. Meng gets scoop slammed immediately, chopped in the corner and back body dropped. Tony is doing a really big old hype job, just basically talking about everything else that's happening. Jimmy is in.
What about this that's going on?
Jimmy is in his military pressed into Meng.
I thought Meng was going to catch him.
Oh, well, I don't think he was bothered, was he?
No, he just
I don't need him. Nash versus the Giant is booked for sold out, which means it probably will happen. Meng dodges.
I think it did, so I think that's when he drops him on his neck.
Meng dodges a corner charge. Meng rallies, drop kicks away the legs of the Giant. But the Giant is immediately up. He presses his taunt button And then Meng desperately tries to avoid being chokeslammed, but I think the Giant is strong enough to chokeslam him.
Yeah.
And he,
I'm going to say Meg did not help him.
he basically said, "You're picking me up, fucking do it then." But he does.
Oh,
He does, in fairness, and he does get the win. Squash job. No real problems. Maybe you could have protected Meng because he's got that monstrous thing.
Yeah.
You could have easily have done this with Tenzan, for instance. But
no, he's a heel. It would have been no harm.
With Louis Piccoli.
No, the Giant's a heel.
Giant's a heel. I keep thinking he's in NWL.
No, later on he is, but not yet.
Yeah, that's my only complaint is that, the last thing you want, though, now is 3 squash matches back to back. But yes, for the first one of our upcoming 3 squash matches, it was perfectly fine. Jack.
Yeah, it was alright. There was nothing wrong with it. Giant does over, quick, short, sweet. Could have, like you said, could have been somebody else other than Meng.
Well, I just think Meng's got such a...
he's established.
The crowd give a shit about Meng. You could have fed him somebody like
Chris Adams.
Louis Piccoli.
Somebody who's a bit bigger.
Any of the bastards in the flock sitting there watching.
A Van Hammer or something.
Just having beat the shit out of Van Hammer.
Yeah.
The unnecessary man.
So,
I liked it. It was, short, sweet, hoss match. But yeah, it was the wrong person, really, for the Giant. Or you could have had a match in progress and then have the Giant come out and just beat everybody up because he's meant to be.
Love this show so far.
Yeah. Look, it slowly dwindled when we get to the next one.
Well, he had to make one note. Enough of this shit. Here comes Mongo.
Oh, this is brilliant.
And he's fighting Bill. It's a rematch from Starcade. And
over
I just want to remind you, I'm sure one of us said that it was the match of the night from
It definitely won't be.
Probably me.
It was pretty good, I think, though, from memory. I think one of them went through a table.
Yeah, Mongo did. He fell over there and went through a table.
Oh, this one isn't quite of that standard. Bill Goldberg does look in fucking amazing shape, though, doesn't he? Yeah, it is bulldog face, yeah. Mongo jumps Bill with a diving shoulder tackle.
I thought he was dying. AEW, watch this. That's how you do a dive. By running and stepping through the ropes, then jumping. That's how we dive.
Nullify all my momentum by stepping out the ring to then dive.
He jumped. Oh, God. He then sends Bill into the steps. Goldberg barely sells any of this. He press slams into a stampede slam. There's a single leg takedown which shocks the fucking lot of the crowd.
Oh my God, he wrestles.
And Mongo recovers, takes out the legs with a few sort of football tackles.
Which he just gets up from.
Yeah, there's a Bret Rope shoulder tackle, or a 1 count only. Another few football tackles, but yeah, it just turns into a spear, jackhammer, and Bill Goldberg wins. I mean, you could argue it wasn't really a squash. But it was a squash. Yeah. I've already said it. Having this following on from the Giant doing exactly the same, and both of them being face, is just such bad booking.
I don't know, because I'm pretty sure Goldberg was the heel at the beginning.
Was he?
Yeah.
No,
he nicked his ring and Deborah was with him and stuff.
Only in your mind.
No! Not in my mind, goddammit. Thank God.
It was fine for what it was, though, and I think Mongo was alright. This is probably as good as
very good.
No, it's crap, but this is as good as you're going to see Mongo, because he ain't got to go 20 minutes with Brian Adams.
Mongo wrestles. I've read this now. Mongo wrestles like a 2K20 match. That just glitches because he's very stumbly.
When you watch him, you just think, who coded this?
He just wrestles like there's an earthquake.
He keeps falling over.
I quite like Mongo.
Everybody loves Mongo.
Yeah, I ain't quite a boy, but I do quite like him.
He's similar to Sid in a way. That why do people just love it?
Because it's so bad.
Jack,
you give him the belt.
It keeps Goldberg's streak. I don't think it's a thing yet, but I think they're starting to.
I think they mentioned it at the big a few months later. I was going to say at the beginning of '98.
The fans have game behind him. It's another win over Mongo from Starcade. It ain't very good, but at least Goldberg wins, and it is bad booking that you follow it on from this. You could have shoved Louis v. Rick in this spot and done this earlier.
Yeah.
I'm going to say you could have moved it around, but that time at the beginning, I popped at that. My first note was one a time.
It was amazing.
It's just brilliant.
I had to rewind that.
I want to be a high flyer. No, you're not, Mongo. I would say stay on your feet, but you can't even do that.
That'll be good. It's the Mongo now, though.
Yeah. It's time for Buff, though.
God. As soon as I saw these, I went, oh, fucking hell.
Jesus Christ.
Buff, Bagman and Conan.
What a team.
They get the B theme, though, don't they? Conan and Buff are out.
Show between you and me.
Followed by
Not quite vicious and delicious, is it?
Buff poses his fucking arse off, though, on the way out.
I've got pains.
It's not only sizzle either.
No, yeah. You use what you've got. Steinerized plays and Ted DiBiase.
I just love it when on that thing when it goes to the down two drops and then you see Scott Steiner.
Look at it! I ain't sure about Ted with the Steiners.
No, that don't make sense.
No.
Never did.
And I'll tell you one thing. The Steiners, I think they've been in a gym. At least once in their life they've been to the gym.
They're
fucking massive bastards.
One of them is morphing. I
Honest to
I have
God.
actually put that, but Scott is involved.
I thought he was a character off Rampage. I reckon they'd have like George, Lizzie, Ruby, Scott Steiner.
Freakzilla.
He is insane.
I think this is more telling than when he becomes Papa Pump because you expect it more then.
Yeah.
When you see him and he's old Steiner, but he's so wide.
He's sort of like that. He's got his later body, but he's got his old head on it.
It's just,
I'm not a fan of the beard with this Steiner though.
I don't like the get up of the Steiners anyway with the half and half and they look a bit bondagey for me. They're a bit sort of leather and
all NWO.
I preferred the sort of colourful
What kind of bondage is it when one's got earmuffs on?
They're into weird things, what can you say?
Barks like a dog.
Exactly. Buff and Scott start us off. There's a little posy shit. Buff hypnotises Scott down, so Scott just gets up and clubs him to the back of the head. You definitely, Scott, don't think you on his level, Buff.
They have teaming together later on when he joins the NWO.
Underhook slam, Conan's has to say Buff. The bark sounds as as Rick and Conan are in. There's a reverse slam into the corner. Buff clocks Rick and Conan clotheslines him down. Rick catches Buff on a jumping nothing into a belly-to-belly, which does pop Heenan and the crowd. Scott lays out both heels, hits Conan with another belly-to-belly. There's a nice tease as Rick calls for the Steiner line, but Scott goes fuck off. I'm winning it with the Frankensteiner from the top rope.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think that's storytelling and leading.
Because
because he's so fucking mad. I don't think anyone buys that because I think they just think he's fucking mad.
I think it's because like in a few matches that he didn't tag Rick.
Yeah.
But I think he did during the tag titles when they win them. So sort of like false insecurity because it is Super Brawl that he turns on it.
I don't mind them separating the Steiners at this point in the career, but you could argue that whole tag division is dead the moment you lose Harlem Heat and the Steiners because they're splitting up Harlem Heat at this point.
I think
Jerry Saggs has been sacked.
Oh, he got sacked a while back.
Got Meg and Bob.
Meg and Bob and the Outsiders.
Yeah, it's just not. I would have liked to have seen them somehow, even if they turned them heel, but kept them together. But I can understand why, because I mean he has got a bit of stuff. He's just fucking. You'd want to buy a ticket just to see him, wouldn't you? You think, what the fuck is that? He's
this corned beef man.
I didn't enjoy the match though. It was too stilty and smashy, and I don't think when Buff is on the rise, whether we like him or not, they're building him.
Yeah,
Conan's credible, and it still felt like a squash match.
Yeah,
and I think that's again. The show doesn't need 3 squash matches.
No.
You could have made it a much more
competitive match. You could have made it like
match.
Vincent and somebody else in the end.
But exactly, if you're going to do this kind of match, Just feed him fucking one of the really low underlings.
Vincent. Or saying it at this point.
Well,
I think he's in the flock.
Bischoff.
10 cents.
10 cents. What a team.
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the fact that they've sort of jobbed out the next rung of the NWL.
Yeah.
I know it's the Steiners, and they're believable that they probably would kill everyone. But this is the group. This is the whole company is them.
I know they're telling this story, but this is immediately the moment when you think the NWO is dead.
Well, they've only got Hogan, Hall, Dash, and Savage.
Well, the whole idea of the NWO, we've been told, is that it is a threat to WCW, and they have immediately shown, other than the top stars, they're not.
And Tenzan.
So,
cacked on him, and the match was a bit cacked. It was. They could have just put another team against the Steiners.
Especially, it was a tag title match, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So,
it was.
You know what? I can forgive some of the crap that we've had to sit through before now, but once you're starting to have your opening show with a title match, and we'll talk about it in the main event as well, and the Cruiserweight match as well, which is fucking bonkers, it just weakens everything for me. Sam?
Yeah, it was disappointing. Well, it's Bagwell, so it's got to be disappointing. But you got to love the Steiner. Particularly, again, it's just Scott Steiner at this point. It's just strange.
I just love the fact that after this, we immediately get Tony Schiavone saying, by the way, there's a fine for Scott Steiner. And everyone's like, yeah, we don't know why, but it's just like, we've fined him.
What they fined him for?
Yeah, why did they find it? They're doing out.
He's giant. You know, when apparently
he hit the ref to go, what the fuck are you doing?
But that was good. In fact, them trying to make something that was innocuous mean something.
By going,
but they don't really do anything about it.
Also handicaps yourself going forward because you got to do it every time.
Yeah. And you go. Yeah. Oh well. Anyway. We get a full recap now of the Bischoff and Zbyszko match from Starrcade, which you can check out in our Starrcade review if you want to listen to that. Back at Thunder, Tenay introduces Larry Zbyszko. Thank God for Larry. He's a good old talker.
I tell you, this is a brilliant promo. What a man. I'm so glad he turned up. I can't believe he'd become a boy.
But it is such a good promo.
But immediately watches all the fame speech. You'll realise he's not really.
But here, in WCW,
he was, wasn't he?
He was.
The world just witnessed his victory over Eric Bischoff at Starrcade. Now, in a matchup over a decade in the making, January 24th, it sold out. He faces the NWO Scott Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome wrestling's living legend, Larry Zbyszko. We are just over 2 weeks away from sold out and the matchup we've all been waiting for, your bout with Scott Hall.
You know, the moment of truth for Mr. Hall is rapidly approaching. Can he or can he not, after 10 years of pain and sweat, get in the ring and beat the master of human chess at his own game? You know, I remember Scott Hall when he started. Young, big-looking athlete, impressed the promoters so much they give him title shots at the heavyweight championship of the world, which was held by yours truly. And Scott Hall couldn't beat me. And I tortured the kid. And I made him cry in the ring. And I humiliated him worldwide. And he got frustrated. And I can understand why the man hates my guts. But the reality of the situation is, Mr. Hall, I took you to the crossroads of greatness. And you chose the easy way out. And now, instead of walking to this ring 10 years later with the heavyweight championship of the world in your hand with your head up high, you're sitting in a first-class seat on the ship of fools heading straight to Larryland. Let me say, do not underestimate me, Mr. Hall. I can get up any day of the week, bench press 405 pounds, drive to the golf course, shoot a 73, and still rub your face in the mat from one post to the other. I've retired men that make you look like Mother Teresa. I've wrestled in front of the royalty of Japan, the President of the United States, the emperors of Japan, to the kings of Samoa underneath the Southern Cross, while Scott Hall was sitting in some grade school picking his nose. I changed wrestling history in August 1980, and it sold out. I'm gonna change the New World Order for life.
He tells Hall, he says the moment of truth is approaching. He asks if Hall can beat the master of human chess. He puts over Hall's start in the AWA, how he went through everyone, then couldn't beat him for a decade. Says he humiliated him and made Hall hate him. But he tells us that he did it to teach Hall what it takes to reach the top. But he was let down because Hall then took the easy way. That's your story. It's just literally, you can use the past to tell a whole fucking story. Brilliant. He says he's on the first class ship of fools to Larryland. I mean, that's
Larryland.
What a
that was his thing.
what a turn of phrase that is.
Would you want to go to Larryland?
I don't know whether I'd want to go to Larryland, but
He says
I think it's closed down.
He says he's retired men that make Hall look like Mother Teresa. He said he's fought in front of presidents and kings and fucking emperors and everyone. And he promises that he's going to change the NWO for life. The only thing I had an issue with is that it was that should have been it. But he sort of just waits around for Mike today to throw us back up to. Yeah. But I've got to tell you what, I love that promo. It was worth twice the promo of Bret Hart and Hogan on this show.
Yeah, it's all brilliant.
Yeah. It's not as good as Larry.
Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, but Larry there.
Come on, I mean, that.
Larry there and he cowboy boots.
Let's go to Larryland.
I want to go to Larryland. I love Zabisco. I loved him from the pro. Remember that awful AWA show that we watched, which was also about 9 hours long? And they had that 6-man, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think
they all had 6-man.
Was Hall in
he
that
was with Ray Stevens, or
Ray Stevens, Nick Bockwinkel, and Zabisco.
And Zabisco versus Scott Hall, Kurt Hennig, and Rambo, Greg Carl.
But that promo that he cut was brilliant, Larry Zabisco.
He did do a brilliant one.
Yeah, that was like heel Ghostbusters. It was amazing. I loved it. I'm telling you now, Larry Zabisco, what a boy. Absolute boy. We get a little bit of build as we see Hogan and Hall spray paint Ray trailer. Just so you know, he's not in the NWO.
Randomly, it was in September.
Yeah.
Why did it took him so long to get his revenge?
Scott Hall has his tag title around his waist. Am I right in saying it was the tag title?
Tag title. It's not the tag titles, but they did eventually.
It is the tag title, though.
They become it, but it ain't the tag title because the starting is on the
No, but he just sort of said he is the tag champ.
He is the tag champ, because if you look, they am like the later tag belts, but very tiny. They're like toy belts.
I think Scott Hall has had one of them nights where he's enjoyed himself. He looks a bit glassy.
I think this is no, it's later on out the last Scott Hall.
Ray Trailer has no character and little reaction.
No wonder he goes back to the Fed later in the year.
I mean, Hall immediately laughs at him after throwing his pick at him, so it just makes me laugh. And the one thing I love about Ray Trailer is no matter what my character is, I'm doing that mad jump.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Hall works the arm, which is the first on this show, slaps the head of Ray. Ray hulks up and gives Hall 10 punches in the corner and an uppercut. There's a big squash in the corner. Ray's all over Hall outside, then bear hugs him on the inside. He flays his arms, though, and catches the ref in the eye. He didn't get fined for that.
Because it was accident.
Hall uses the tag belt on the outside to clock Ray Trailer. Hall covers Ray, but Ray kicks out. Running clothesline by Ray in the corner. Bret Rope Bulldog, and again Ray survives. Hall goes for the chair, but Larry is out to stop it. Larry is up. Ray rises behind Hall, which is a great sort of horror character moment. The Hall rushes into a Bossman slam, and Ray Trailer has beat Scott Hall. Welcome to Thunder.
Even the top end of you are getting beat. What kind of threat is this?
There's only 10 there, isn't there?
Tenzan and Hogan.
Chris Adams, the Steiners, and Ray Trailer have brought down NWO on the road.
Screw you, Sting.
Jack.
I mean, I don't know whether Ray Trailer should be beating Scott Hall, but Scott Hall just likes to lose.
He even said, don't bother me if I lose, you're still going to pay me.
It furthers the thing with Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah.
Reason of this, not the Ray Trailer. Don't let them confuse you with the promo package. That means nothing. Because Ray Trailer is not getting a push after this.
No, I think the only thing I could say is that the styles didn't really mesh very well. It was a bit clunky again. But
he's had his time.
Yeah, he has. And he's trying to reheat Ray Trailer at this point when you've got a roster of the depth of Benoit and Guerrero and Malenko and all that. Just seems a bit pointless.
Get reheated in the WWF.
But it's different in the WWF because he's been gone for such a long time and he's placed as a bodyguard.
For the evil boss.
This is... I don't necessarily think they were trying to reheat him, in fairness, which means...
We've got to tie up the story from September.
Yeah.
It's all reheat meat.
But I do like that Larry got one over on Hall, because Hall, naturally, you would imagine
I'm pretty sure that's what
Larry
carries on, because they've got them fighting that sold out, haven't they?
Yeah. And I must admit, you come out of it wanting... The one thing I will say about most of this show is that they do a decent job of building other things. So...
They intended to.
Yeah, nothing they properly intended to, but we get a recap of how Juventud Guerrero is now the #1 contender for the Cruiserweight title. Sam has booked this show, I'm sure, because the second Sam boy is out with his title. The Ultimo Dragon is put over by Bobby Heenan, but Tony quickly moves us on to other things to tell us about how Scott Steiner got fined. Just a cruiserweight champion. Can you not just fucking talk about this?
Focus on the match.
So yeah, Silver Ultimo Dragon headlocks down Hoovy. I'm just not sure about Hoovy. When you've got Ray, if you get Hoovy, you're like, oh, I wish it was Ray.
He is like the off-brand Ray.
Yeah. He ain't a bad worker, but like
the juice. The juice. He ain't a bad worker. He's just a dick.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no arguing with that. Hoovy recovers and springboard spinning heel kicks. He misses a corner splash and Ultimo hits a beaut of a spin kick. Misses his handspring and
nothing.
Yeah, well, nothing. And Hoovy is crotched. Ultimo grazes, I would say, Hoovy on the Asai moonsault. And with the way that it ends, I don't know why they sell that leg. Because it looked legitimately like he landed on his shin. So, he should have sold it. German suplex inside by Ultimo. And it's surprising how quiet the crowd are for a cruiserweight match.
Maybe because this should have been the first match.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like 2.5 hours in now,
Yeah, and it does feel...
I've just seen Bossman.
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy watch because there's no real in-depth matches, but at the same time, you'd be bored out of your face if he was there.
Give me more Larry.
What was they doing during the whole recap of Larry v. Bischoff?
Having a piss. Ultimo stays on top with a drop kick to the belly welly of Hoovy on a dive. Hoovy reverses Dragon with a DDT, sets him up in the corner. I'm comfortable that this isn't going to be the finish because he hits his big 450 and then wins. I was like, what the shit is that? This is the Ultimo Dragon, and you've spent fucking 6 months building up into this ultimate belt-carrying monster heel, then turning baby face. He's leading the Cruiserweight division. Hoovy wins an innocuous... Juventud wins a throwaway Cruiserweight #1 contender match on fucking Nitro and wins against the Ultimo Dragon that way. The match is much better than any other match we've seen in terms of the in-ring work. But for the actual story and it definitely weakens this division and this title. This whole
I haven't on Hoovy.
just the way that it happened as well, because it's like we're not bothered about this. If they'd have built it up where there was ring walks, there was building up to it, talking about it. Don't forget later we've got the big cruiserweight title. Can Hoovy upset the odds? If Ultimo Dragon had sold his leg and therefore you had a story coming out of it, do you think that Ultimo gave a shit about losing the belt? Because no one else did.
I'm pretty sure he probably went back to Japan for a bit.
I hated everything about this match because of that.
Very angry.
Well, I really did. I thought that's the worst bit of booking on the whole show. Not because Hoovy won, although I would have kept the belt on Ultimo. But sometimes it's the way that people win. You know, we take like Chris Adams. Jackie,
reverse that.
I understand.
JJ for fuck's sake.
A title change on your first show of a brand.
Yeah.
You know, it'll pop in a bit.
Why don't they shove it in the main event?
Should have been in the main event or first.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
I think it should be first.
I think it should be first. But it is a bit flat in the sense of Hoovy has only been built from Monday.
Maybe.
That like he had this run of 3 months.
This is what WWE started doing about 5 or 6 years later, where they'd have like someone winning an IC title, #1 contender, and Ezekiel Jackson's the champ the week after. It's like, where the fuck's that come from? Like, you know, I don't really. But at least with WWE, you know that they've made a big deal out of it. The commentary team just went, Hoovy's won
quickly. Here comes Brett.
I am so.
It was very good.
I'm so anti this match. I'm honestly thinking about going on strike.
It's one of the worst cruiserweight matches they had, purely based on it was the wrong time.
Yeah.
And Hoover tuned one.
I would have loved to have seen a long, lengthy, dominant reign from Ultimo with a built-up.
I'm pretty sure
it
Hoovy loses it fairly quick.
More for Hoovy as a babyface to lose in a certain way where you made him feel like a big deal.
Will he lose it to Jericho? No, he later on. I'm sure he loses. That's who he loses.
But both of these are babyfaces as well, aren't they? So he's actually beating a babyface Ultimo Dragon. So, you know, if they'd
have turn Dragon heel after the match.
Yeah, if he'd have beat the living shit out of him because he couldn't take losing because he's so dumb. Just something like.
That's the problem with the cruiserweights. Until Jericho got it, they don't really give him any. Well, they did with Eddie and Ray. But
is this who Jericho beats?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. Because by Slamboree, that's
so he has a very memorable title run then. Hoover to Guerrero.
Yeah,
anybody likes Super Brawl, I think.
Yeah, it was very long.
Oh dear! Don't worry. As Jack has correctly said, here's a story of a man named
Brett. The worst time I've ever seen. How have you given up on WCW after, 2 weeks? He's coming out with blue cowboy boots with his jeans tucked in.
If you're going to come out as Cowboy Brett, you've got to come out as the cowboy on the mountain, Brett. That's an iconic photo.
Oh, yeah. To be fair, he does get this shit scared of his own body.
Yeah, but Bret Hart walks out like a zombie and he's woken up by his prior.
He looks so. Because even he was fucking hell.
He looks so pathetic, doesn't he? I love him, but he's just like, he's given up on life already.
This isn't Bret.
Come on. Put your glasses and your jacket on.
Just look like Bret.
Blue cowboy boots.
This isn't the hit man. This is just Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Shit, man.
Bret, the announcement was made official earlier this evening, January 24th at Sold Out. You, the 5-time WWF World's Heavyweight Champion, to face the Nature Boy Ric Flair, 13-time World Champ.
You know, I want everybody to understand something. You know, for years I've gone out and called myself the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And I don't intend that to be any kind of a slight on anybody in particular. I know that everybody thinks they're the greatest. And I know that Ric Flair takes exception to that. But I've got nothing but respect for Ric Flair. And anybody that can win a world championship 13 times, you know, I admire that and I respect that. But at the same time, I'm one of those kind of people. I believe in myself. And I believe that I've accomplished a lot of things. I'm former 5-time WWF World Champion. And now that I'm in the WCW, I don't feel I have any other choice but to prove myself all over again. So with all due respect to Ric Flair and everybody else, I'm not going to stop. I am not going to stop for 1 second until I prove once again that I'm the best there is, the best there was.
Hey, I think he's made some very valid points.
Well,
here.
this past Monday at Nitro in the Georgia Dome, there was a very interesting face-to-face showdown between you and the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and it looks like we're ready for part 2.
Watch the eyes on Flair.
Well, suddenly Bret Hart takes his jacket off. You think this is going to be more than just some trash talk and an idle conversation between two legendary wrestlers?
Let me see. You're Bret Hart. I'm the Nature Boy. We're going to wrestle the 24th of this month, and we're going to find out. No, whoa, easy. Let me talk to him. He's up here. Since we spoke last week, I got to tell you, Bret, 1,000 people, if there's been one, have said to me, get him to say that little phrase he says one more time with you in the ring. It's that good. They want to hear you say that again. Keep in mind, take every wrestler you've known in your illustrious career, put them all over here, put me right here, and say that little saying about yesterday and come around the mountain again, whatever it is, with me standing here. I gotta hear it, and they want to hear it.
I'm going to say it one more time. And I'm going to prove it one more time. You're going to find out that I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And I'll prove it.
You know, in 25 years, some people have said some pretty stupid things to me, but that's the damnedest thing I ever heard anybody say. You are telling me you realize you were 14 years old on the front row of a box of popcorn going, oh my God, that's the Nature Boy. I want to be just like him the first time you saw me. You come from a great family of wrestlers, a great heritage, great amateur, everything you've accomplished 5 times. You've been the World Wrestling Federation champion, God bless you. Pal, when you were up there, I was wrestling Brody in Singapore, and the natives were restless for 1 hour. I was in Tokyo. I was in St. Louis. Ask Hogan. How about St. Louis? I have been around the world 13 times, and I resent you telling me that you're better than him gone yesterday, today, especially me.
With all due respect, to be the man, I guess I'll have to beat the man.
Oh boy, uh-oh. You know what you're gonna find out? You're gonna find out on the 24th that it ain't just being the man, brother, it's staying the man. Woo!
Bret tells us that his best there is catchphrase is not a slight on Ric Flair. He respects Ric Flair. He admires winning a belt 13 times. But he believes in himself, and he drops. Then he says that he is a 5-time WWF champion, and I love that Bret Hart thought. That'll carry more weight with his crowd than the WCW belt.
But to be fair, he did beat Flair for his first one.
He did, yeah. Now, yeah, exactly.
That's
now
what I was
he's
thinking through it. Even the commentators like, you fucking beat him.
Yeah. He's now here to prove himself again, and he won't stop until he proves that he's the best there is. Ric Flair has showered and he's back out.
It was a great job, bad one.
He mock bows to Bret and he hypes up Sold Out's match. He asks Bret again to tell him he's the best there is to his face. We've already done this, but okay. Bret agrees to say it and says he'll prove it at Sold Out. He points very aggressively into the chest of Ric Flair. Rick calls that the stupidest thing he's ever heard. He puts over Hart's family, but then reminds Bret he was wrestling Brody for 60 minutes when Bret was 14 years old, eating popcorn in the front row. He resents Bret's catchphrase. Bret tries to end the interview, telling Flair to be the man, he'll have to beat the man. Flair warns him it's not about being the man, but it's about staying the man. I do like the last 2 minutes of the promo. Yeah. But up until then, the luster of Bret Hart is lost.
Oh, Bret looks awful in this.
You know, that was the main event.
I don't mind that, though, because I actually came out wanting to watch the match, because I thought, I love the two play on I like the best there is being a slight to Flair, and I like the be the man stuff at the end. I don't quite get why Flair always has to tell people he fought Brody for an hour.
Yeah, he loves that.
Yeah. But
I fought Brody! The bruiser!
Stick. But yeah, that to me, the biggest problem with this is that someone needs to school Bret Hart.
Which means Bret feels like a heel now.
It does. It already feels like they have no direction on what they're going to do with Bret Hart. And anyway, you were saying about Bret.
Well, he just looks awful, and thank God for Flair, because Bret looks so bad, so mid-card.
Yeah.
You are pointless in this company.
Totally.
They haven't helped him.
No, not at all.
But he hasn't helped himself either. It's like he come in and they went, "This is your thing," and he went, "Well, I'm wearing my boots then."
Yeah, I'll do what I want.
I've got me 20 million or whatever it is.
He looked terrible. He looked directionless. And to be honest, if you just took it in isolation, you'd think, well, this mook's obviously going to get beat by Ric Flair at the pay-per-view. Yeah, which is the right thing.
Yeah.
What was the title match on that?
Sting and Hogan never appeared on
they fight on it.
No,
that's why that's the main event.
I thought they had the rematch of Springstone. Oh, the one after it.
Yeah, because Scott Hall had won World War III and had a title shot, and he was going to get the shot at Sold Out. That's why later on, when you see the announcement, Scott Hall walks off because he's pissed off because he wanted to get the shot.
Why did they tell you that? I saw that. I don't know that happened.
Yeah, that's why
you've watched, no.
Yeah, but they've filled you in on who fucking Rick Martelli is.
They showed you right there. They're getting beat up in September.
Because that's what he kept doing. Because he gets his match at Uncensored against Sting. Because they were saying, obviously you can fight Scott Hall or whatever. And
I just thought
he did the belt after the after he was boss man. Scott Hall.
Oh, Larry.
I'd have given the belt Larry after this show. The only one who I would confidently give the belt to is Larry. Sam, thoughts on Bret Hart?
He'd get up. He don't want to be there.
I think he should. His theme should have been "Hello, Darkness, my old friend." He should come out, shouldn't he? Hello, Darkness, my old
friend. So miserable.
He was
at least try.
Just smile.
To be honest, even when he smiled,
I do kind of love Grim. I would have storyline booked him as a grumpy old man.
But when you see it later on, when they have to show what happened on Nitro with his run,
he looks like he's broke his knee. It's the worst run I've ever seen.
What are you doing?
Oh, that whole thing though pissed me off. The ending to Nitro, which we're seeing.
We're at attack.
The
tech machines are rolling.
Anyway. Barrel-chested Norton is out, followed by...
Here comes the caramel barrel.
Not the best singlets ever, because it just covers his belly button.
He just goes to the pube line and then that's...
It's a pube.
Oh, God.
Oh, Scott.
Lex is clotheslined down and sent into the steel immediately. Norton has a lovely mullet. Lex doesn't want to take a side buster, but Norton forces him to. Luger rallies with clothesline. Buff is out. Lex decks him. So is he been suspended now? Norton hits a shoulder breaker, which is his finish, by the way.
It's a good move.
Yeah, fantastic. This is... What's the point in this? Why did
Why give him your finish?
Give him your finish to let him kick out
In a 3
on
minute
Thunder? Lex kicks out. The commentary team pop, but no one else does. Luger hits his forearm. He racks Norton, so the match is over. Buff is racked. Macho Man is knocked down. We go to break. Yet again, the NWO absolute mugged off.
Even Savage looks like a move.
But now you've got the muscle of the NWO that can't beat Lex with his finish. Like, what the fuck?
And he got beat in 3 minutes.
Why are you weakening Norton to put over Luger?
If anything, just give Vince.
I wouldn't have even minded if they'd have just had this as a meat hoss battle, but just don't have his finisher hit.
No,
you've got to protect his finisher. Crap. Luger's already established as a top star.
Yeah.
I don't quite get why we're constantly doubling down on this. The NWO are a bit shit at the moment.
Except for Hogan.
Yeah, just weakening it. He loses his belt in the next segment.
Hogan and Nash, when it can be bothered to turn off.
Yeah.
They're the only two that get put over.
Crap, Jack.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good at all. I expected a lot. Well, I expected a lot better, and I didn't get it.
Yeah. So
my only notice, thank God that was short. I couldn't have had that for 10 minutes.
He does have a lovely mullet, though. Tony sends us to a recap of Starrcade's main event, which again you can see in our archives. I thought maybe they'd speed up the count, which is what I said, but no, they didn't. The show is in normal time.
In case you didn't pay for Starrcade.
What annoys me the most is that they keep going on like it's a fast count, because they said something about if you can't count to 3 in 10 seconds.
They could count to 10 in 3 seconds or something like that. They said.
Oh, something like that. But I'm thinking, well, but he's not fast counted. We can see that. You've seen it again and again. Like, you're just making yourself look like idiots.
Hogan's basically justified, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we get a recap now of the main event from Nitro, which was a rematch for the WCW title. Yeah. Basically, Stinger splashes Randy Anderson due to Hogan pulling him in the way. Nitro then went
what a bump blow he takes.
Yeah, he does.
Randy.
Hogan taps. Nick Patrick comes out. Rather than calling for the bell, he distracts, so Sting whacks him. For a second time, Hogan pins Sting, holds the tights, and we get a normal count, and he's beaten him. So again, Hogan is called the winner. The crowd there would, I assume, because they don't know Nitro's gone off the air, think that Hogan has won the belt. Randy Anderson gets back up. He doesn't know that Patrick's called for the bell. So when the deathlock is locked in, Hogan submits. Sting is announced the winner. J.J. Dillon comes out, gives the belt to Sting. Bischoff comes out, attacks J.J. Dillon.
Kicks him in the balls.
Stinger death drops him. The NWO are out to attack Sting. Brett rushes out. But I say rushes out. Looks like he's got piles or something. It's terrible. For ages, Sting and Brett are dealing with this on their own, but for whatever reason, Duggan needs to get out.
There's Hacksaw.
And the WCW are out, and again, the NWO are weakened because they run off. Oh, God. So, yeah, that's where we are with things at the moment. Hogan has beaten Sting twice. Yeah, we have chaos. Mike Tenay brings out J.J. Dillon. J.J. calls out Hogan, first of all.
Now, did you skip a bit, or was it just Bar Network? Because it's got him calling out Hogan, And then Hogan's in the ring doing this.
Oh,
and
yeah, must have, because I saw the entrance.
Oh, they see, because then the sound was behind, so then you heard Hogan doing this.
Yeah,
and he was there talking.
Because he came out to no NWO theme, but with Nash, Hall, Conan, and Vincent. He left the rest.
Vincent has to go.
Sting is out. He walks with his belt around his waist. JJ says that he's watched it over and over. Why did you need to watch it multiple times, JJ?
Forward, backwards, sideways. Millions of times.
JJ, for some reason, holds up the belt rather than just giving the belt back to Hogan, who legitimately should be the champ. JJ wants the belt. Sting tosses it down at his feet, then holds the bat to JJ's chin. He immediately loses all luster though because he speaks. He should have just done it. He should have just done it dead like that and not said anything. You have no guts. Woo! Come on, baby! Fuck off, Sting. You've killed your character. I'm Team Hogan all the way. And basically, as you say, Hall had walked off.
Because
I didn't know that.
Reference. I don't know that. I don't know that he walked off.
He calls him a dead man.
Because you even see Bischoff trying to call him back or something.
Any thoughts on that segment?
I mean, it's crap. I mean, the killed Sting. Why is he speaking?
Yeah, shouldn't just the bat.
I don't mind that.
He should just do the bat. And no expression on his face, because that's his whole gimmick. He's the crowd. So, no speaking. No speaking!
You don't need to speak, though. That's the thing. You don't need to say anything.
You don't need to
the first time he speaks.
No guts.
That's it. Now, if he just said, you're dead.
Or something like that, maybe. The first time he speaks, maybe if it was that, and it was to Hogan, just to say, I don't mind that I've got the belt, but I'm going to get it.
Dead. And this should have ended the show by saying no.
Well, because Nash has to go back to come back.
That's what I mean, because it's like, why that was necessary?
Why was he even there? He didn't need to be there.
Because that's why I said that should have ended the show. Because then you could say this big thing happened on the first night. Sting spoke for the first time.
Or, you know what they could have done on the first Nitro? Thunder. They could have done what happened on the Nitro, which was the match for the title. Because it was legitimately the biggest rematch.
I'll talk, bro. I'm not wrestling.
Anyway, the main event time finally, and DDP heads out to a pop. Nash is out again, and Hogan's with him, by the way, as well. Looking Uncle Hulk. Uncle Hogan's with him.
Manager Hogan.
Nash tries on the US belt. Tony tells us that
doesn't fit me, brother.
I love that. Love what Tony now says. He says, we're going into overtime now, but don't worry, WCW never, it always allows you to, carry on watching. Literally on Nitro, it didn't. Literally didn't.
Every show ends the same, Tony. I know what's going to happen.
I will say this, Nash is definitely over with the crowd. Not quite as much as DDP, but even in the heel, Nash seemingly has got that coolness.
He's the face.
He's just cool, even Hall. Just cool.
Especially
Nash,
hot dogs. Nash has got this sort of silent coolness, whereas Hall looks like he's
a bit of a drunk.
Nash, you'd like to go out with him though. You'd like to go out drinking with him.
He ain't quite in his cup face, is he yet? It's just saying.
Nash shows his strength early on. Nash shows his strength early on. DDP works on the arm only to be short arm clothesline. There's a very weird neck breaker, which looks more like a DDT. Kev recovers and starts laying in his big knees. Cornette starts getting his fingers ready to count the moves.
I've done 3 of them.
That's one!
He lifts his... he does his corner elbows, but then he does do kidney shots, which you don't see very often.
Well, that's the 6th move!
Yeah.
No, the 7th move, sorry.
On the third attempt, DDP rallies. DDP's clothesline, though, in the corner. There's a big side slam. That's a move. For a 2.
Hold 5! Side slam!
Nash is dominant as he rolls out DDP and then whips DDP into the steps. Nash sits on DDP, who's on the middle rope, and then snake eyes DDP. There's a big elbow by Kev, but only for a 2. The crowd do start to build for DDP. At least he's showing like the babyface heart. DDP sets up for the diamond cutter, but Hogan gets up, blocks it. Nash lays out DDP. The match is called, by the way, it's a DQ. Giant walks out. We get the face off. Tony goes into fucking overdrive. Were we on? We were staying with it. We've got 5 seconds left.
Waiting, and then they have the most weak little torture.
We're out of time.
Calm down, Tony. All I'm doing is having a scuffle.
Yeah, but you gotta love Tony Schiavone.
He has to finish like that. I mean, that's what they do.
The only positive was that it built a match for a pay-per-view down the line in Nash and Giant. Sorry.
Well, it's a match that should have happened already.
Finishing the match on a DQ. DDP getting screwed by Hogan, who's not really feuding with DDP at this point, so Hogan doesn't.
Hogan
need
wants
to
the
be
US
there.
belt. Can't have the world belt.
Well, that's it. You know, I don't quite get it. You know, there's probably better matches on this show that would have been better suited to the main event spot. But Nash versus DDP in of itself is a main event worthy match. But when you're giving it 7 minutes, it's an ending in a DQ, which is a trope of WCW. Could you not have just said this TV show is going to be different? We're going to have matches end normally.
We're going to have matches end.
I think, again, the whole show would have made me less confident in WCW as a product if I was a new person watching or a WCW fan.
I think
the match was a bit shit. I think it devalues the US title a little bit when they could have built it up saying this is the main title now because there's no world champion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
for 3 months or whatever it is. You got.
You've also got the number one contender shit. We've seen him used well before. This could have been something where you've got Nash number one, Hall number one, Hogan number one. Then you've got your built-up thing in there. I think, does DDP need the title the US title at this point?
Probably not, because you got to get it off him because he's getting too off.
Exactly.
He could have beat Nash, I think, cleanly. Which would have done more for the belt and for DDP, and you can still have the scuffle after. I don't know whether Hogan should be involved, because why the bloody hell is he there?
Well, couldn't you just have Giant scare off Hogan, which then causes Nash to think, why the fuck you ain't helped me? Then he loses clean. You've got there's a million ways you can rebook this better than what they did.
He's over. So you can have him distracting and then bang, he's hit him and bang.
Well, I mean, Nash has already sold the Diamond Cutter as well, fucking year ago.
Yeah, so. I mean, that's how he got over, brother. I didn't join the NWO, brother.
It was Hall who took the NWO. Nash fell over the the ropes and for some reason grabbed the table and put it on top.
For a first show to end in a DQ, it just felt like
WCW.
You could have just had a big moment with crowning DDP's going to be a new star.
Well, why would you think this is any different to Nitro? Well, I just think if you're going to have 2 shows, you've got to have some level of distinction where there's a reason to watch Thunder. If the reason to watch Thunder is to see a recap of everything that happened on Nitro, which we did, and then have the same smosh finishes. And like I said, with a million ways you could have rebooked it. You could have had Nash one, you could have had DDP one clean, you could have had Giant get involved with Howard. There's fucking shit. Loads of ways you could have done it.
It's the problem with AEW now with Rampage, where nobody gives a shit about Rampage because it is just Dynamite Light.
Yeah.
Thunder is the same as Nitro. SmackDown was it for Raw for ages, but now they've got the brand split. They feel more...
Yeah. There is slight distinction to the way that they present things, but even that's been one of the issues. That when you look at SmackDown's history, when it was its weakest, it was when it was just not as good as Raw, but the same kind of product.
They have a brand split, so you saw the same people, but it wore the top star.
Yeah.
So you had a lesser, and that's what Thunder is. That's what Rampage is at the moment for AEW. Unless you've got unique rosters, or you say this show is centered around the US title or the Cruiserweight title, or you centre it around Brett, Cowboy Brett.
But even that wrestling show, I mean, you could tell Bischoff didn't want this, did he?
No, because they said they wouldn't give him any more money or any other crew. They had to use what they already
And I think you can argue because WCW is still winning the rating wars, but only for another 3 months, and you could argue it's so evident.
It went back and forth a little bit, but then towards the end of '98 was when finally.
When you can see here, they've sort of played all the cards.
Yeah.
And they ain't got the creative minds to come up with another storyline.
Yeah, you've got 8 weeks. 8 separate shows a month. If you do a pay-per-view monthly, you've got a quick fit storyline in. The beauty of Monday Night Raw is to find out what happened with Austin and Vince. You have to wait a full week. You can build that anticipation. To find out what happened on Nitro, you have to watch Thunder. To find out what happened on Thunder, you have to watch Nitro. No fucking care.
Saturday night.
Crap. Just
there was a million ways better to do this. And as I said, I think it should have ended with the title announcement and having Sting just say that little words.
Then it probably said, just as J.J. Dillon's announcing, we're out of time!
Who's going to be champ?
Fucking Vincent's the temp!
Fucking bullshit. You know what? Instead of done that, I don't like that.
Vincent holding the belt.
Oh my God, what did they do?
We'll show you later in the show.
This is what caused the riot.
Well, we might as well do the round table at this point, but we'll do a mega round table at the end. Match of this episode of Thunder.
I don't know, actually.
Well, mine's Jericho Flair.
Yeah, it's Jericho Flair, yeah.
Well,
maybe Mongo got both that time.
I mean, I'm going to give the main event because I don't think you should main event it like that.
I'm glad someone has, but I'm definitely going for the tag title match. Even though I was really angry at the Cruiserweight title, they did also devalue the tag title, so the tag title.
Yeah, they got
all the belts come out worse.
Yeah. MVP?
Larry.
I'd probably get Larry.
Yeah. LVP?
There's a lot. I'm going to either give Sting or Brett.
Well, I'll put the NWO, but I will also put in Ultimo Dragon, just sort of not being arsed about losing his belt.
I'm just going to get WCW.
It was reasonable.
Let's see Bobby even, because he had to sit there for 3 hours.
Well, let's see in 3 years' time whether you're still saying WCW is the LVP of its own show.
Oh, it will be later on, because it don't exist.
Because we're going forward now to 21st of March.
I think I already know who the MVP is this
2001. And 21st of March 2001, the UK number 1. 2001, bad.
Westlife?
Yeah.
Can't believe that I'm a fool again.
Fool again, that'd have been really Uptown Girl.
Oh,
Uptown
really,
Girl.
John?
Butterfly by Crazy Tune. You're my boss. Was the US number 1. A game that I'm sure you played, probably own on the N64 was released. Pokemon Stadium. 2.
Oh, 2?
Yes, number 2.
Return of the Pokemon.
Return of the Pokemon.
Return of the Gyarados.
Rock.
Is that what it's called?
No.
I thought you were going to say.
Rock and Austin featured on the cover of the WWF magazine, obviously, because we were on
the greatest mania ever
in the history of our great sport.
And Big Papa Pump with his freaks was on the WCW magazine. Do you know the WCW magazine was printed until May?
What did they put in it? Nothing. It's dead. Why
Just bits.
I love that though. I love the fact. Papa Pump was the cover star for the last 3.
Rory Nice Spoon.
No. Oh god, it definitely weren't him.
How come he didn't get picked up for the invasion?
Now, I hope you remember this, but West Bromwich Albion played
Tranmere
Rovers and won 2-1.
Oh, we won.
Yes. Liverpool had contrasting fortunes, drawing 1-1 with Derby.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, rubbish, yeah.
So, yeah.
Derby pissing, can't he?
All that has changed 3 years forward, and Albion have finally got that win over Tranmere.
The streak is over.
Here they go,
Who is it, the ref that supports him?
Oh, Mike Dean.
Yeah, he was there.
Tear in his eye. Right, so Thunder has gone through a little bit of a change because the WCW logo, first of all, has changed. We do get an immediate recap of Nitro and where we...
nice to know that this didn't change.
Yeah, where we are. Flair has his... Big Flair's on this show. He has his face pushed in the rear end of a donkey.
Dusty dead.
Yes, with Jeff Jarrett. The awful opening. The theme is terrible. The package is terrible. The fact that they've got no star power at all in 2001. It just shows the dearth of talent. One thing that hasn't changed, though, Tony Schiavone's on the stick with Mike Tenay to handle.
God, I was dreading. I thought, oh God, Mark Man's still out here, is he? And then I remembered.
I think they got rid of him now.
He got sacked in 2000.
I think right at the end it was Stevie Ray, weren't it?
Stevie Ray did a bit. Scott Hudson was the other one mainly.
He wore too bad, Scott Hudson, to be fair.
No, he was all right.
It's a bit of a weird two, these, because today's like a play-by-play.
Although I think Tenay does really well through this.
Well, I
really
think it's because Tony has given up.
Yeah.
So
Tenay has.
I was going to say, Tony has admitted I did not give a shit about it.
It's really hot. Someone makes his debut in the company on the show. It's really hot. Someone does.
Oh, they do.
It's really hard to get the audience to care about a company that they know is about to close and talent that obviously they're literally hitting the reset button again. And I think Tenay does a really, really good job of trying to get you to care. Tony, less so. Air Raid are out as Air Styles and Air Paris are out for it's a cruiserweight tag match, but not the champions.
No, it's not for the cruiserweight tag.
I think the winners probably do get a shot on the last night. Right?
No,
they don't.
Ray and Kidman get the shot.
Yeah,
the last tag champion.
Yeah, they win them because he's still got the belt to this day.
Kaz Hayashi and Jimmy.
Awful fucking belt.
Do you think it's awful?
The title belt. Have you saw it?
The big gold one, is it?
No, it's the one that's just an eagle.
Oh,
and the side plates and the wings.
There is a belt on this show that I thought was a good belt, but it must not have been that.
Probably that.
Kaz Hayashi and Jimmy Yang are out as the
Young Dragon
spelt with a J.
J.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this might be a fast match. What do you think?
Just a bit.
You didn't like the brick thing. Do you like Red Ropes Thunder? We aren't even asked to put blue on the.
I think we filmed this after Nitro, and I think they did. They had to do it. At that point,
we can't be asked to change anything.
No.
Yeah, I'm surprised they have the Nitro aprons.
They do not give a shit. Yang and Styles start us off. There's a bit of mat work, which leads to a nice head scissors from Styles. But he's collapsed in the corner on a corner charge with a belly-to-belly. Paris and Yang with a super kick, and Kaz double jawbreakers on the top rope, the Air Raid tag team. Kaz springboard kicks away Paris. Strange to see now that AJ Styles hits the Styles Clash and literally is just a set-up move because he can't beat Kaz Hayashi with it. Air Paris as Air Paris is... What's the best way to put this?
Is he French?
He's got the strangest body type.
Yeah, he don't look right.
What's his name?
No, his name is Air Paris. I just don't know whether he's French.
I don't know.
But I don't.
You know what he looks like? You know when you're playing Pro Evolution Soccer and you create a football and then you drag it right to skinny. He looks like he's got no definition. He looks like a no-way creator wrestler. That's what he looks like.
Skinny shotty.
I've never known anything like him. He's drop kicked down anyway, and AJ Styles clotheslines.
Very indie.
Yeah, very. And that's where you feel this product's going as well.
Yeah.
There's a nice DDT by Paris, which gets a 2. Styles hits a swanton after a toe hold. Mike, Tenay, and Tony hype up next week's final Nitro. In the ring, Air Paris is given a sit-out powerbomb by Yang. Kaz gets the hot tag and gives Tajiri-style kicks to Styles and then Paris. Paris recovers. A reverse Death Valley driver gets a 2. There's a spike hook suplex, which gets a 2.
The key crusher.
There you go.
Low Key's finish.
Is that Low Key's finish?
He used to do it, yeah. It happens again in a match later.
He hooks him and spikes him and it's a suplex.
Yeah.
He should have just called
Spiked
it
the hook suplex.
Yeah. You've got to remember, I don't watch this product as much as you. AJ Styles shows his suplex offense and then signals for the turnbuckle. AJ, though, is drop kicked down by Yang and on his jump, sorry. Yang now signals for the end. AJ just pushes him away. There's a very, very, very strange cut on the network.
Yeah, well, I thought that.
And then all of a sudden, AJ's in the middle of the ring.
Not sure what we missed, but Air Raid eventually hit a double team spine buster. Kaz Hayashi with a reverse running bulldog on Styles, which it just sort of then goes, and then he pins him and he's won. Like, I didn't think that was going to be the end.
It's a weird move to finish.
Yeah, and he wins with it. Jack?
Well, it was okay. It is just the cruiserweight match, and it's they've got new tag belts, so they're trying to get over cruiserweight tag teams. So it isn't a bad opening. It feels more WCW than the last opening we had, but it feels like it doesn't really accomplish a lot, whereas the other opening we had did.
Well, I think this is where you start to have the indie style of no one cares of who's heel and face in tag teams, and it's just so fast paced. And I think it kills tag team wrestling when you've got no heel and face divide, because they all worked hard. But I think Air Raid was heels. But I don't know.
I think the Young Dragons was because they turned on an album or something like that.
Yeah, but I think Air Raid come out in new gear, so they looked heel.
I don't know. That's the point.
Top Gun, sorry, Top Gear.
Top Gear.
I know what this show is. It's almost like a celebration of what they are with the cruiserweights and stuff, and it was fine. And look, Jimmy Yang's a good worker. AJ Styles is a good worker. The other two, all right. It just the issue I have.
I thought Kaz she might be a boy.
Yeah.
I don't mind him, but yeah.
I just thought a throwaway match in the last ever Thunder's opening match. I'd have loved to have seen a heel spot. Someone work a hole.
Yeah, it was very indie-rific.
Someone work a hole.
Fuck off.
It was just poor camera work.
Yeah, God, I don't know who that booking put in charge of the camera.
Maybe the cameraman just went, fuck it, I'm losing my job anyway, who cares? God, especially at the end, but we'll get to that.
When we lose Scott Steiner for a bit. Oh God!
They all knew. So fuck you, why am I trying hard?
Yeah, it was fun for what it was. We get a clip of Dusty's arse.
Oh my God!
And Dusty's ass, which both were true. WWE fuck up the network, so the dub is so fucking loud that you can't hear Tony and Mike today talk.
I don't know whether they got a dub Dusty Rhodes.
I thought it was natural that he still had that.
I think they wouldn't dub that.
They owned
it.
They'd have put it up.
They owned you.
We get our third shot of Nitro and Flair and Dusty's donkey and arse. Third time we've seen this. It's only been on 20 minutes.
They love that, though, don't they?
There's zero heat.
Vince knew he bought it and go, that's good shit.
There's complete zero heat. The crowd barely react. Dustin says he's
proud.
Yeah.
Let's watch the B-roll one more time. Ooh. Could you imagine how that smells right now? Man, oh man. Boy. Pop, I love you. You know, I almost feel a little bit bad for the Nature Boy. Woo! Ric Flair. But then on the other hand, I feel good because I shoved Jeff Jarrett's face in that ass too. The chosen one. Well, Nature Boy, I've got some stuff for you. I think you're going to enjoy these.
Now, what could this be? He's got something for the CEO here, the Nature Boy, Ric
This
Flair.
is my favorite right here.
His favorite? But what is it?
All right. This is Pin the Nate on the jackass.
Didn't we see that Monday?
Now what you do, put your blindfold on, spin around, you get real dizzy, Take a little picture of Ric Flair right there. Put it on his ass, and you'll know when you get it on his ass, I promise you. Because when you undo the blindfold, it's going to be a whole hell of a lot uglier.
Oh, he's dead in it.
He's dead until
So monotone.
He loses it.
Dustin says it felt good shoving Jeff Jarrett's head into the ass. Dustin goes for his bag. It takes him ages to find this pin the Nate on the jackass.
He's quite big. How did he lose it in the back?
I don't know.
It's probably the only thing in the back.
It's awful, isn't it? I mean, I feel really bad for Dustin, but yeah, we do. He does like to oversell on the puckering up.
That popular.
Jab's puckering up some air. That made me crack
And
up.
to be fair, this happened before. The Vince is doing exactly the same spot for Regal. But Vince has got charisma. Dustin Rhodes doesn't care.
No, he doesn't. Because
I
I
was
think
crying at the puckering up some ass.
Absolutely did crack me up.
I thought he's just gone.
Dustin rounds it off by telling Flair he's got him and the donkey a hotel room. Flair then appears on the trot.
Oh, no.
Here comes Mark Simpson. This is brilliant. This is
Clue times to his face. His whole head is the time.
He asks if he thinks what he did to him impressed people around the world. And Flair says, well, it did!
What?
Flair's struggling initially because he's absolutely mental. Says he's a 14-time world champion. I thought he was 16, but whatever. Flair brings it back by getting furious, telling us that people laughed at him and he's Ric Flair, the Babe Ruth of wrestling. He books our main event, which is Jeff Jarrett, the technician, apparently.
Oh, piss off.
Yeah, and Big Papa Pump against Dustin Rhodes. He tells Dustin Steiner will hurt him. And then he says, the dog-faced gremlin. Not sure why. He's not. Dustin holds up 4. He asks,
do you know what this is?
Do you know what this is? I'm like, the fucking department! And he says, no. Kiss my daddy's ass. And fucking Flair's accent.
It's like looking at the finger. It was so funny. I thought it was going to be awful when it come out.
I think it was terrible, but it was so good. It was so funny. I mean, Flair must have saw the writing and just thought, this is, if I don't act like I'm absolutely mental.
Into overdrive.
Yeah.
But then on the next show, he's a face fighting stick.
No,
He don't appear on the show, does he? He doesn't actually appear live in the...
No.
He does appear later on, but... There's more crap dubbing as Jason Jett's theme is rejected.
ECW's died. I'm going to go get another job to a company that's about to die.
Don't worry, it's 3-0 in WCW, which closes next week. Kid Cash, or Cash, there's no crowd
I
reaction.
didn't even know he was in this. When I saw Cash, I thought, I don't know who this is. Kid Cash go out. Kid Cash.
Imagine debuting on the last ever Night of Thunder and then putting over someone who wasn't as over as you in the company you
followed. Both seen previously.
We watched these.
God.
He was much more over.
I mean, I do tell a lie. There is a little ECW chant as an arm drag from Cash, and eventually he sends Jet over the top rope. There's a nice leaping head scissors on the outside by Cash. Tenay does do his absolute best trying to get over Kid Cash, training with Ricky Morton and things like that. Jet locks in a pendulum submission. Cash then power Irish whips Jet to the outside. He hangs on a while, but he does hit a nice somersault plancher to the outside. The Hangman Page buckshot lariat and I knew my work moves.
Knew that one.
Yeah. And standing moonsault, but only for a 2. Shall we talk about Jason Jett's gear?
He's made it.
He's fucking awful.
That's what he did. He used to make the gear for the wrestlers.
Oh, I wouldn't fucking give him the job.
Fire him.
Strange double clothesline spot, but little sell anyway, because Cash just turns over and covers him. There's a spinning somersault, and again, Cash gets a 2. Jet catches Cash on a sunset flip and spikes him, but only for a 2. Jet from Gladiators helps Cash out with a springboard Hurricane Rana because he barely gets it, but he flips himself. I'm telling you now, at this point, I am fed up of this match. It's gone way too long. There's a few.
And this is only an hour and a half show.
I know.
Why don't you put this back on the first one?
It might have been more over. There's a few near falls. Jet with his afterburner and the handspring elbow rope in the corner. Cash hits his moneymaker underhook. Again, take a leaf out of fucking Scott Norton's book. Don't fucking let him kick out to your finish on the last Nitro.
In your debut.
Thunder, sorry. Nobody cares about this match. Ended. Jet, anyway, crash landing.
Was that the call of Gorilla? No one cares about this match.
That's what Tony said.
Jet hits his crash landing on Cash, and it's 4-0 for Jason Jet, and the win.
That's it. He's done.
It's too long. I mean, I was enjoying it, but it was too long.
Way
that was
too
the
long.
problem.
Both of these can
7
work.
minutes in, I just thought, right, I'm finished with this now. Can we move on?
Yeah.
And then carried on flipping around for a bit, and it felt like take a leaf out of 98 way of booking TV, which was shorter matches, more story. This was to where we're getting to where it is now with the state of wrestling. Longer matches with no story, and this was that. It was too long. It gets Jet over, okay, whatever.
But you're building up a little bit of a streak, and you know,
I don't know why he's going over Kid Cash if it's his debut.
Yeah. It was way too long. I mean, it was just way too... No personality in the match anyway, no heat. But like I say, I can get behind a little Spot Fest Cruiserweight match. Not quite sure I can get behind it after watching the Spot Fest Cruiserweight opener.
That was a tag match.
But again, at least it was a tag match. But it should have been 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, it was too long.
Too long. That was the issue.
Blair apologises to Rick Steiner for something, is my next slide.
What happened?
Sorry, brother. I said your name in the package earlier.
I accused you of something.
God. And then we get the cat telling M.I. Smooth to not let Canyon get to him. He's a crazy bastard. I called him Swell for some reason.
Big
Smooth tells Cat he's going to see Crazy tonight. Cat tells him to go down and he'll whoop his ass.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, God, it's awful. But I do like. There is just so much about Cat.
I don't know.
He is so charismatic, though. I mean, he's awful. Like this match, the fact that he has to lead in some of these matches.
There's this moment where I thought, you absolute bastard. How dare you not give him the hot tag? You just did your own comeback.
I want it,
Well, let's get there anyway, because the team that the Smooth and Cat are facing. So anyway, I'll put it, who picked this out the back? Canyon is now a crazy heel.
Teaming with Canyon.
So,
out the stage.
Yeah, he's a crazy heel now. He's a bit sort of flippy. He's gone mad.
He's unhinged.
He's the desperate attempt to build this. War Machine plays, and his fucking partner is Road Warrior Animal. I mean, Tony says this is a weird pairing. It's the understatement of the whole show.
Paid it up, Canyon.
Now, they
Where
didn't.
was Hawk? Why don't they bring Hawk out?
They didn't overdub M.I. Smooths, but I feel there is definitely some court action here because that is smooth operator.
That is Rick Rude's theme. It does not suit you, it suits Rick.
He's the least smooth looking man I've ever seen as
Nice
well.
train.
I've just put big old meat truck.
Nice train, I mean,
He
we've
is
seen
a
him
lumpy.
there.
Yeah.
He wasn't great.
Boy, look.
They do dub over though with James Brown's "I'm the greatest" for the Cat with the Cat's WWF theme.
At
And
least they just have the one that they have on the pay-per-views. Yeah, that when you hear that loads of times, it does you reckon.
I do like that, to be fair. Cat and Smooth are the faces, by the way, and despite Animal getting the biggest face reaction of the lot,
It's someone we know.
he's a heel. Cat and Canyon start us off. Cat with his karate kicks and 10 punches. Smooth get tagged in, and he wants a hoss battle with Animal. Even though he was telling us in the package earlier he wanted to fight Canyon. Whatever. Crowd react. I mean, to be fair, Animal's probably in as good a shape as he's...
He ain't bad shape.
You know,
No.
but when he... I mean, the fact that he doesn't look like a meat truck because of the size of Smooth probably shows how big Smooth
It
is.
says a lot for what a singlet can do.
Tell me about it. He can't shift the meat man though. The shoulder block does do it, but he eats a suplex. Animal now sells it. Smooth now sells it. Welcome to no sell. Literally, no one sells until Cat gets tagged in. Someone has to sell something. Animal scoop slams have definitely seen better days. There's a nice series of kicks by the Cat, but Canyon breaks it up. Smooth decks him for that. One of the worst power bombs ever by Animal. And thank God Canyon is in this match. Spinning neck breaker. I'm not sure anyone knew who got the better of that spinning neck breaker. No one in the match, no one watching it. Like, no one knew who it was. Animal is in, and he lays a big boot to the cat. Remember Hawk? I miss Hawk.
I miss Puke.
Where's Heidenreich? Canyon lays in the elbow, and then we get a chin lock. At least Canyon's like, slow the fuck down. Swinging neck breaker by Canyon gets a 2. Cat reverses his sort of falling Faymaster into a power bomb. The hot tag is being begged for the crowd. Smooth is ready. And Cat just decides to handle shit himself.
I'm doing it myself because I'm a bat.
And he does the DX fucking suck it as well.
No, I don't get that.
Yeah,
what are you doing there?
Animal clothesline. I like the fact that Animal just clotheslines his head off for the dance. Like an idiot. Miss Jones, who, by the way, is MI Smooth manager. Again, it's weird.
Miss Jones is actually the Cat's manager.
The Cat's manager, sorry. Well, she heals it up, but she's supposed to be a face. Smooth makes the tag, which gets no reaction. There's a big belly-to-belly. There is finally a nice scoop slam, to be fair, by MI Smooth. Cat and Animal are having a fight in the massive space around the ring. I mean, they could have a fucking dance in there. It's ridiculous. Inside, Smooth big splashes Canyon. Poor Canyon loses to a big splash in the ring. And Animal really can't be asked to do anything about it and just wanders off.
He just looks at me. Hey.
It's absolutely terrible. I mean, part of the reason why I really wanted to do the last Thunder was because I saw this match. And it literally was. I saw this as a match and I thought, I've got to see that.
Yeah.
But I can't believe how bad some of the bits were in it.
It was terrible.
It was so bad.
the cat taking his own hot tag.
It's just fucking that. Just.
Poor I mean, Canyon can work as well. Like, God, he don't deserve this. This is your last ever WCW feud. If you do with MI
Probably his last WCW match.
He couldn't have been on.
I don't think he was on the last.
So this was his last match.
Anyone got anything other than very bad to add?
Oh, it's awful. I mean, you know, it starts okay, but then after a minute it dies, and then the Cat doing his own comeback just fucking had me going ballistic. Poor MI Smooth. I don't give a shit about him, but you've completely shit on him.
I'll tell you one thing though.
Canyon's leg for MI Smooth's finish.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing about MI Smooth. I'm surprised he didn't get picked up because
he's big.
He's green as fuck. And he can do one or two little things where I'd have thought. That's my point. I'd have looked at him and I'd have thought, I could do something with him.
The thing is, he was ice trained, and he was green in 1994.
That's a good point.
7 years later, and you're still the same.
We saw him against Scott Norton.
I'll be honest, until you just said that, I didn't realise it was ice trained. I didn't even realise.
So,
now I understand exactly why they didn't pick him
7 years, and you've
I think he
not
did
really
work for the
improved.
a little bit.
He's terrible. I mean, he's probably not as bad as Animal and Cat, but he is
out of
terrible.
everyone there, I think they got the right one.
Yeah.
Animals. Canyon must have a mess. How do he gets given the US?
Yeah,
because I thought he'd come in as US, but Booker just gives it to him.
Yeah.
What a way to prestige your belt.
Do you remember Greed?
It must be Greed.
Yeah. Rick Steiner lost his belt
Did
at
we
Greed.
do Greed?
We did, yeah.
I thought we did Sin.
No, we did Greed. We can do Sin if you want.
Oh, fuck.
Shane Douglas cost Rick Steiner because he hit him with his cats.
Piss off, Douglas. I thought this company died who just helped us get rid of you.
Babyface Shane, who is the most heel-looking man.
And he was always
He was even heel in that fucking zombie film we watched.
Yeah, he's a heel in life.
We see shots of Hugh Morris and Douglas brawling with Rick. Again, I'm confused who the fuck is heel and face here. Because it feels like Rick's being screwed over by a dastardly heel.
People like him.
The old Dungeon boys are together though, because Conan's out with Hugh Morris. Poor Conan as well. He's like We got nothing for you.
What the fuck happens to him and all in this match? Where's he go?
He just goes to the back, I think.
What the fuck did he come out for then?
I don't know. Tonight tells us that these are the faces against the heels of Ric Flair's
Magnificent Seven.
Magnificent Seven. Fuck
Yeah,
yeah,
very magnificent. Seven.
Rick Steiner versus Rick Steiner versus Hugh Morris on the last ever Thunder. Hugh backs up Rick and clocks Rick with a clothesline leg drop combination. We get some cuts to the crowd again as Rick hits his.
Fuck the camera work.
Rick does his nice suplex. Rick with a few leg drops to the arm, and then he jaws with the crowd. Rick top rope bulldog, which I thought.
Did you hear him before?
He shouted something to the crowd.
He just randomly goes, "Your mama, your brother, your sister, your mama," and then he does the bit.
I just know he had to go at someone in the crowd.
I had to rewind it, and I thought, "What is that?"
As he found his brother's
your mother, your brother, your sister, your mama.
No, I don't want to say it, but I'm pretty confident that Rick Steiner's finish was the top rope bulldog.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, he just sort of doesn't even bother pinning Hugh Morris for a while. I think it's to allow protection for the move. He does get his foot on the rope rather than kick out, I suppose. Rick's been dominant. He hits a big lariat for a 2. Rick tells somebody off in the crowd. Gets really angry with him as well. As we focus on Hugh Morris. Hugh staggers on his own clothesline. Which makes me laugh. There's a nice spinning heel kick, though, from Hugh Morris, who, in fairness, for his size, can move about a bit.
Yeah, the rumbling,
yeah, there's a 2 on a gut-wrench suplex. Big charge, but Rick tries to use the ref as a block on the second. Leads to a heel low blow. Rick grabs a chair, cracks Hugh with it. There's no DQ, obviously. Rick puts Hugh's arm in the chair, grabs the mic. I fucking hate this finish now. I've realised where we am with this. So, yeah, he grabs the mic. He wants Shane Douglas out, because obviously Shane cares about the arm of Hugh Morris. Shane runs out. He brawls with Rick. Rick tosses him around. Mickey J is wrestling the chair away in the corner. Hugh just has to fucking wait as Douglas finally cracks Rick with his cast.
Oh, it's a crack. It's a little bop.
Hugh Morris hits a German suplex and beats Rick Steiner.
Yeah.
This is overbooked shit. This is
It's
terrible. Who decided Hugh Morris should win? Why is Douglas a face?
Do you feel like they've ended up here with a load of heels and faces?
It's the wrong way around, definitely, but this was shit.
I actually thought up until then it was okay. It wasn't brilliant, but it was okay for the standard you'd expect of Rick Steiner and Hugh Morris. But that ending was one of the worst booked endings I've ever seen, because he didn't even help Hugh Morris. For one minute he was literally the woman in peril with his arm in the fucking chair. The next minute he's
on the train track.
You know what I mean?
And then the train's gone off the track.
Just awful.
Shane Douglas bopped it.
At one point this has got to be my match of the night so far, and then they ended it like that. Jack?
It still might be. I mean, it does start okay and it chugs along nicely. Rick Steiner knows what he's doing. Hugh Morris is okay. And then the minute that the rest bump happens and the chair comes out, it all goes wrong. I mean, Shane Douglas, you are a heel, so I can't like you. So why are you coming out to save Hugh Morris anyway? And then Hugh Morris is... There's the videotape.
I can't believe this. So I'm thinking now, at least there's a bit of story now, because Shane's come out and he's given this mysterious tape that he wants to be shown.
No reason why he's getting Pence.
Pence is in charge of the video.
He's going to run to the back
of the ring announcer. You do it.
Dave Pence is the Jeremy Beadle of... we all know that.
Is that what it was? You wanted 250 quid?
Yeah, well, I didn't get it him for that stupid bop. And I can't believe this. I thought it was going to be something to establish the feud. You know, there's all this sort of crap.
You have too much faith in Shane Douglas.
Well, there's all this crap about someone's attacking someone backstage, and they kind of are talking about Rick Steiner as the culprit. I'm thinking it's going to establish that.
Yeah.
Rick Steiner, I guess you're getting just a little sick and tired of the franchise by now, huh? Well, you see, you made your biggest mistake of your life, Rick Steiner, when you broke my arms and took my U.S. championship. But I'm not so worried about the title just right now, because let's just say that after greed, it's around a more deserving waist than yours. What I am looking for, dog-faced gremlin, is a little payback, a little retribution, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, dog-faced gremlin. I'm going to make you my pet project from now on, Rick Steiner, and I will make your life a living hell. And once I'm through with you, then I move on to what I've waited 15 years for, the Nature Boy Ric Flair himself. So consider this a little challenge, Rick Steiner. I'll be in Panama City next week, and I will not be hard to find. You and I, face-to-face confrontation. I am damn well aware of your reputation as being the toughest SOB in the dressing room today. But in 20 years, I've been in a few battles, Rick Steiner, and like a Timex watch, I've taken my beatings and I've kept on ticking. So consider this a challenge next week for Nitro. You and I, Rick Steiner. You think you can take me out again? Well, try me, dog-faced gremlin. Try the franchise.
Basically, Shane Douglas cuts a long, boring promo about hating Rick Steiner. He gets to the point where basically he says he wants to go through Rick to get to the Nature Boy. So challenges, which I'm telling you, Shane, you've got a week. Challenges Rick Steiner to a face-to-face confrontation. Did that happen?
I don't think so.
No, Vince probably would have got there and went, no.
And I ain't being funny, but didn't they just have that in the ring?
Yeah, he boxed in, didn't he?
Yeah, so I don't quite get this. Basically, that was it. So the mysterious tape was a promo.
By some pallets.
I fucking hated that. And again, he felt heel in that promo.
He had his glasses on and his shirt out.
He might as well have gone,
he was
So, fuck off.
I mean, half of me wants...
Somebody should have said that behind camera. Well, just go, oh, fuck off.
Half of me wants to feel sorry for because, you know,
For Rick Steiner.
the click did sort of...
I try and like Doug.
That's what I mean.
Every time I see him, I think I try and like.
Yeah, because I do feel sad. I do feel a bit sad for him and Jean Pierre and people like the Click and Bam Bam and people like that. But like, he's just a cock, innit? He's just so unlikable.
He thinks he's better than he is.
And
he does think he's Ric Flair.
He's obviously got the ear of someone to be booking him as a face because he's so far away from a face.
You are a heel.
Primetime Helix Skipper is out.
Through your fucking head.
Yeah, I'll put it out. Primetime Helix Skipper is out with his cool looking cruiserweight tag belt. Sorry, Sam, I thought it looked quite cool.
I thought it looked okay.
No!
Kid Romeo is out to his
He is not a cruiserweight.
He's the most old-timey heel I've ever seen. He dances and tells people to shut up. Chavo Guerrero's cool theme does play. I do love that WCW.
Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah. He's angry at the crowd as well. So he's with the heels, obviously. 6-man. Dubbed theme alert is Ray Ray with his Phantom of the Opera star mask and Billy Kidman are out. The noise is just terrible. It just sounds like noise now because of the dub. The production of the show as well on the network hasn't helped it out, but I agree with you. I mean, when the cameraman obviously don't give a shit. Sugar Shane Nelms is the third man in their team, and today does an absolute really good job of putting over each person as they come out. Even Kid Romeo, even to the point where I thought, I like Kid Romeo. Yeah, there's so much about him.
He's a little can of beef.
Yeah.
He is spammed.
Fucking hell. Kidman and Chavo start us off. There's a nice head scissors by takedown by Chavo, then a crossface neck breaker. Chavo doesn't want anything of Helms. There's a nice tilt-to-world backbreaker, but the heels lay in the knees and a clothesline in the champ corner. Romeo has a little dance to avoid a monkey flip. So fuck this dude, super kick to his face. He bulldogs Shane Helms down, and Shane Helms does sell, and I guarantee Vince would have looked at this in the hierarchy and at that moment when Shane Helms sells, he'd have thought, he'll do for me. He's big enough as well as a cruiserweight to not look like a little man as well.
He was a big part of the alliance, really.
Yeah.
The Hurricane.
Nice heel heat. There's a sit-out crossface and then a Samoan drop. Ray, he's the most over. Let's not hide it. He gets a pop on his springboard. Elix Skipper springboards onto him. There's a nice sit out by Ray on a suicide dive, and then it's all the dive spots. Basically, everyone has a go. None of them are that impressive, to be honest. I thought Kidman might do his 450 or his superstar.
He just does a crossbody.
It's like it's the last night.
It needs a bongo noise.
Yeah.
Kid Romeo.
Look, if Bongo was in the back and he just like, let me sort this out for him. Ray and Elix drag us back inside. There's a beautiful full Nelson suplex by Elix on Ray. Ray's triple teamed. Crowd don't like that. Chavo and Ray. I mean, we've loved Chavo and Ray.
We must have done this. Like every 4 or 5 podcasts, we get Chavo and Ray.
I would watch him all the time, especially as we watch the worst of wrestling. It's a nice little gem when we see Ray and Chavo.
Anytime we see this girl, thank God there's a breather.
We know what's to come. Gory special, but Kidman makes the save. There's a nice moneymaker underhook. Kid Cash cries in the back because his move's been used again. But Romeo can't get the win.
I've been here longer than you, pal.
Only by a week. Kidman builds the crowd. They want the hot tag. Ray hits a spinning.
The cat comes in for the hot
tag. Helms gets the hot tag, and the crowd do react. He takes out all the heels, takes down Romeo. TKO into a face buster. You want to tell me what that move might have been called?
Well, the knee face buster.
Yeah.
It's just a TKO into a knee face buster.
Got it right. Kidman gets on the top rope and hits a Macho Man elbow. Chavo blocks the pin. Elix hits a missile drop kick from the top. Ray hits his Bronco Buster. Never liked Ray doing the Bronco Buster. Deals with Elix. Helms calls for his Vertebraker. Chavo stops it. Helms and Chavo head over the top. Romeo wants to hit his finish, but Kidman hits the unprettier and wins the match. Thoughts on the 6-man?
I quite liked it. I thought everybody felt like they had a bit of a gimmick. I mean, Elix was probably the one that felt a bit more of an afterthought, I would say.
Yeah.
Romeo's got a gimmick. Chavo's established. Kidman's established. Ray, I don't really know why he's in this division. He should be higher up the card with the state of the higher up the card. And Shane Helms is getting over, although he's a bit heelish with his dancers. But the match itself, I thought, flowed quite well. There were a lot of fuck-ups.
No.
I thought it was quite good. I don't know whether Kidman getting the pin. I don't know. I'd probably give it Shane Helms, seeing as he's just won the cruiserweight.
Yeah, so would I. I'd have established.
It's the one you're building around.
Yeah, but I thought it was a good match. I enjoyed it. Thank God there was a good match.
I think that if Elix Skipper didn't have Cleveland's head from Family Guy, he might have got picked up because he looks so old, doesn't he? He looks like a proper old man.
Yeah,
like he's got a really old looking face, and he's got no character. But he's definitely so solid in the ring. He just never fucks up. He literally never fucks up.
It's just weird that he went from Team Canada to Kid Romeo.
Yeah, it is
That's
a bit
weird.
It is weird.
It's a weird team, mate.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that 4 out of these 6 head over to WWE, and I'm not even surprised who the 4 are. I think it's a solid match. And
they should have.
If WCW...
I'm sure Vince would have looked at him and went, you know what?
Yeah.
You pass a test? I can't hire you.
I think if you move forward with WCW from this point, you'd find that these were pretty big parts of it.
Yeah, they would have been. It was a good match.
Kidman's at
Kid Romeo. I don't know what it is, just Kid Romeo. I just keep looking at him. You're not a cruiserweight.
No, but he does dance.
Well,
funny.
he's tiny.
He does do a little. He's like Alex Wright. He's like the next.
They always have a sap dancer gimmick, don't they?
They love it, don't they? Even Shane Helms dances.
Oh, this promo now, though.
Put the cape on. Oh, God.
The stilted Chuck Palumbo and Sean
Who are
O'Hare.
you looking at? You one thing I wanted to
What kind of difference do we want? Oh, we'll be different in WCW. We'll not look at the camera when we
I'm
talk.
sure now him in the background, particularly at the end.
It looked like they was doing like a really bad sort of music video. You know what I mean? As I walk through the valley of the Chuck Palumbo warns Mike Awesome that he's going to beat him tonight, and Storm can get involved if he wants, but so will O'Hare. And you know what that means? A load of crap. That's what that means.
And O'Hare just goes,
Right.
Yeah, he just sort of. He's got like Tourette's.
why don't you just come out with him?
Yeah, well, stupid. The Alliance fodder match is next anyway, as Mike Awesome versus Chuck
Don't worry, in
Palumbo.
a couple of months you'll be teaming together.
I can't believe that Chuck Palumbo's the face. Honest to God, I thought from that promo they're the heels, but obviously Team Canada are the heels.
We ain't Canadian.
And Mike Awesome, Jesus Christ! I mean, we've watched him throughout our podcast. He lost his soul at this point. Big gut wrench by Chucky gets a 2. Awesome clotheslines Palumbo as Tenay reminds us of that awful win over Total Buff and Greed. Remember that? They just went into business for themselves.
Yeah, and they just
Fuck
lied
this.
there for ages or something.
Just take it up. Awesome does his nice springboard clothesline to the outside.
And that's why you don't see Luger and Bagwell anymore.
No. And then his slingshot splash. Awesome hits underhook suplex for a 2. And a terrible, and I mean terrible roll-up attempt. He goes for his ankle.
He gets too much momentum and
He
sort of
can't
like,
stop, can he?
can't stop, so he sort of plants into his arse, and then he's just called. Mike Awesome's like, oh, I ain't doing
Well, he says, fuck that, and stays on top. Camel clutch. Awesome blocks a break a few times. Palumbo sent into the railings outside. Absolutely massive around the ring. Awesome is sent knee first badly into the steps. There's 2 fuck off awful chair shots by both men. Both are ignored. Tony struggled to call this. I mean, literally, he just cannot be arsed with it, I think. He's like, what the fuck am I bothering with this for?
Just barely hits him with a chair, and Mike Awesome then falls
He
down.
does call the match as well. This match has been a struggle. And I don't know whether it meant for him, or us, or them.
I think for everyone.
Palumbo hits a belly to belly. There's a nice drop kick by Palumbo, and Awesome is on the outside. Awesome goes high. He has to hold his balance for a while, but misses his frog splash. Lance Storm is down. He attacks Palumbo. The commentary team build up to O'Hare's going to come out now. You know what happens? He comes out.
Oh, what a shot.
Takes a little while, though.
They're way more excited than the crowd. Storm sends O'Hare into the railings. They have a brawl off camera. Palumbo catches Awesome on a jump into a scoop slam. No pin as they hang around a little bit, which should have been the finish in it, because Palumbo kicks Awesome. He signals, that's it! Covers him, and it was.
The slam was the finish. You don't have to get up and do your shitty kick.
Anyone got anything good to say about this?
I mean, this was just boring.
It was
It
boring.
was a boring match.
I think, but I don't like calling wrestling matches boring very often, but this was really dull.
Yeah.
And
I just kept zoning in and out.
I think the fact is, whatever way you look at it, out of these 2, you know who's leading the match, because he's going to be the veteran.
Mike.
But he ain't a veteran. He never became a veteran in his career.
He's a Japanese style as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. This match needed someone to lead him, and I think, like I just said, you've got 4 men in that previous match that you could see being the future. If you're going to move forward with Chuck Palumbo and Mike Awesome in any capacity, you need to work with someone who can work.
Well, the 2 people in this whole 4-man feud who feel like they've got a future is Lance Storm, who is a worker, and Sean O'Hare's got a good look.
Yeah, exactly.
Match.
Lance Storm should have been in every match with Mike Awesome on the outside.
One-on-one, but Lance Storm wrestled.
It's awful. Absolutely
He
awful.
will do your wrestling.
I mean, I literally will forget that we watched that match in about...
I don't think I'll forget it because it was so bad. Palumbo surprised me how bad he was because, like, in a year he's with Billy and it's all quite good. Well, fuck me, he was green as goose shit at this point.
Well, we're nearly at the end.
Yeah.
We're nearly at the end. I mean, that sets the scene for the fucking main event, apparently. Because finally we get a bit of star power. I say that really, really loosely, but if Star Power nonetheless, as Jeff Jarrett comes out it gets a pyro as well. There's 10 minutes of the show left, and we're doing the ring walks, which tells you how long this match is going to be. I mean, whatever way you say, if you lined up everyone in WCW at this point and said who's going to have the belt, he's going to Steiner because he looks like a fucking monster. Jeff calls people slapnuts, which was a thing. Jeff tells Dustin he's going to be dead after this match.
Yeah, it's like the crowd. They couldn't give a shit. They couldn't.
Like Dusty's career and like WCW. He doesn't say that, but that's what I felt inside. Scott pities the man who doesn't learn. He says he beat Booker T like a little bitch. Scott promises this week will be Booker T's last match in WCW. I thought, well, it will. Of course it will.
The stranger, it's on the first Thunder we watched. You saw the beginning of this. And on the last show, you see what he becomes.
The full circle.
But there's still more. Because there's more music, which made me laugh. It went straight back into Scott Steiner's music. Because Animal's backstage wants to see Flair. Apparently he's got a camera crew whilst he's doing it. Flair's laid out. Oh, God. Animal's acting. He's brilliant.
Oh, no.
No. Someone get him out. No.
Still painted up.
Ric Flair's laid out. Who done it on the last ever show? What is the point?
I think it was M.I. Smooth.
Didn't we? Actually, we never found it.
Well, that Flair's on the next Nitro. So.
Was it Sting?
Well, I don't know if it was good because I'm pretty. I don't know if they ever like Shivani or Bischoff podcast mentioned that there was going to do something.
I can only think that the plan was going to be Sting.
Possibly because
they want you to believe it's Rick Steiner, but it's going to be Sting or Goldberg.
It was Hawk.
Awful.
It was
Dustin is
Boy,
here.
hey, I party you back then.
Dustin's out, by the way. Dustin lays in shots and a lay down uppercuts, which is
get that
nice
gold outfit on.
He looks awful, doesn't he, Dustin?
Yeah.
10 punches on Jeff. Shattered dreams, the crowd call it, as Dustin sets it up, but no. Papa pumps in, clotheslines down Dustin. Steiner line, elbow and press up. I do like him telling the ref to count his press ups.
He starts to count it all there.
What a heel. Suplex by Steiner gets a 2. Tanay and Shivani go into a hype job of next week's.
We're out of time.
I wish they were. Dustin is hung up in the corner. Jeff lays in boots. Dustin gets a visual win on a small package, but heel ref Nick Patrick has missed it. Is he still here? Who knows? Scott is fighting some fans apparently off around ringside because he just fucks up for a bit. Don't know what's going on. Jeff tags in a pissed off champ. Dustin low blows Scott. It's a lariat on Jeff. Bulldog. Jeff gets his foot on the ropes. Scott uses the pipe and then the Steiner recliner. Dustin is out. The bell's called for. It does eventually sound as well. After the bell, Scott locks in more of the Steiner recliner. Booker T's theme plays to help the heels get a warning. Booker T does get a bigger reaction than probably anyone else on the show, where he wasn't given a match, beyond me. Lays out both heels. Tony and Tanay do a big final hype job for the main event on the Nitro, which it wasn't.
It was the first match.
Yeah. Booker warns Scott he's going to beat him for the belt, and don't hate the player, hate the game. Scott Steiner, fucking mad, box of fucking crackers. And it goes off. At the very least, they have built something from a 2-hour show.
It's just a shame it's not dying to do it.
Well, it just makes me laugh because the only thing of any significance in the whole 2 hours was Booker T and Scott Steiner. Dustin Rhodes. He's such an afterthought. He's dead in the ring and no one cares.
Yeah, but even then, they couldn't even just let him beat him.
Without the point.
Yeah, he's 2-on-1.
Yeah.
And it's your world champ.
And he's literally just destroyed DDP a week before.
He can just beat him.
Don't need the point.
Why does he need a visual win?
I don't get it. It's like Dusty Rhodes is still booking because he's trying to keep Dustin really stuck. Dusty's dead, mate. When he gets back to the Fed, he's putting on that gold suit. I'm telling you that fucking thing, mate. I hated the main event because it was just so sloppy but I will say this
for a dead baby.
But I do think Scott Steiner's the up. If we had to rebook it from here with everything you've got, Steiner and Booker is your way to go forward.
Oh,
That's
got
what
that
I
right.
did,
I think they're
got that
starting
right.
to get things in place a little bit.
There's
still a lot more, babbers on the last Nitro even shirt.
They get short stages because they did mention that they're saying he'd get tattooed if he lost. And I thought, yep, that never happened on the last Nitro. Because
Vince is putting a fucking line through that.
Still need a bit of tweaking, but they
Let me see your body
through the awful waters of 99 and 2000. But then they died, so
so
paid for it.
So I'm getting a bit on.
It kind of shows, I think, this show really that there is a few potentials, little gems, but lack of story and no. Once WCW lost its star power and was left with just the booking, it was always going to be a problem.
The big problem is they lost the mid card who was going to become the main because they give them enough. So when they went, they just had cruiserweights on the top. And
well, the problem is they lost the mid card. They lost the mid card because they never pushed the mid card.
Well,
for 2 years, apart from Goldberg, who pretty much was placed as a main eventer in waiting. DDP forced his way through, and his good job he's got a good load of friends in the back because he wouldn't have got that spot if it was no one else. That's the biggest problem. I completely agree.
A lot of the younger ones left, and then there was left with Hacksaw and all these people.
And in fairness to Russo, unfortunately his booking was crap, but it was reasonable of him to go, okay, then what I'm now going to do is literally split main event, newcomers, the new blood and the thing, and try and do it like that. The problem was the booking was shit.
Yeah.
But as a main event, it's just a bit sad. It went tough.
It is. Did they know Vincent bought it at this point? Because from the sound of it, they think Bischoff's buying it. Because I know he was close to getting it.
I'm sure when he makes that announcement and says next week will be the last Nitro, I think they knew then that it was going to be sold to Vince.
Yeah,
I think up until then, he thought he was going to get it.
Because he did say that was close. And then they said, well, you ain't having any telly.
And he thought,
well, you don't wolf nothing then?
Buy it and put it on nothing. I haven't even got a network.
I mean, we're at YouTube at the moment.
Yeah.
It's a bit like ROH.
Yeah, it was just disappointing. Thoughts on the show as a whole?
Shite. I mean, it's like the first one where it's easy to watch. This was hard to watch and it was an hour shorter.
It felt some of the matches was fucking horrible to watch.
It just felt like, it did feel like this is a nice ending for Thunder because it sums up Thunder. That's what I thought. I thought
you'd been sincere then.
Then it is just shite.
The show that no one wanted is finally gone. Unfortunately,
no
the rest
one
of the
missed
company went with it.
No one wanted it and no one missed it.
But you can't help but watch it for some reason. You just feel like, I've got to watch it because there's so much crap.
It's a very unique look at a weird period of wrestling where it was really popular, but fucking there was some awful stuff.
On both shows.
Match of the night then, match of this show.
I got a 6-man tag.
So will I.
Yeah, 6-man.
Worst match?
I got Michaels and Palumbo.
I'm glad you have. I'll put Canyon and Animal versus Cat Smooth.
I'm going to go Austin Palumbo just because I can't remember much on it because I zoned out most of it.
My MVP by far, and I mean far, was Mike Tenay. I mean by a mile.
Come on. Ric Flair was there.
Ric Flair was.
Ric Flair's head was there.
Yeah, I would give Mike today because he did sound like he actually cared.
He was trying. I'm just going to give Ric Flair just because of how funny he was.
It was beautiful promo. LVP.
I mean, the company as a whole, but I'm going to give it Dustin. I think he just felt like Jesus Christ.
I put Dustin Rhodes because he had no right. I love Dustin Rhodes. I think he's a brilliant worker and stuff. He had no right being in that main event.
21 years before, and he sounded like it. Oh, fed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll good Dustin just because of that promo. Since I started hearing it, I went, oh, fuck.
I will forgive him a little bit when you.
I don't remember.
I'll forgive him that. And maybe Kid Cats as well, because he hit his finish today with.
And
he debuted on a company that died the week after.
Having a look at both shows, do I have to ask which one would you recommend?
The first one.
Gotta be the first one.
Yeah, it was much the better show.
Quality.
But there you have it, folks. Well, there is plenty of Thunder coming up, I'm sure, in our future. But that is a bookended view at the start and the end of the show, as Sam says, that no one wanted, and the show that no one has missed. We, however, round out our Thunder episode, as we always do, because WCW Thunder actually became a licensed video game. One well remembered, probably just because of the weirdness of it rather than the gameplay. We took the challenge to make our 6-man card out of the roster on the WCW game. However, we were only permitted to use the superstars from one line once in a match. You could use a tag team, so you could use 2 from a singular line in a tag team, but you were only allowed to use 1 per line. I hope you haven't just used the roster.
No, I've used one line against somebody else, but I have used the same line more than once in different matches. Because I did just do it earlier, this fantasy.
All right, then.
So I couldn't see half of the thing because there were no pictures on it because I couldn't remember it.
Oh, we should play this. I
haven't got it.
Thanks for being prepared.
Well, we'll throw to you first then, Sam, for your match 1.
Right, match 1 is Brian Adams and Disciple, Roddy Piper and Alex Wright.
What a team! Is Roddy Piper going to dance?
Yes! Why not? Piper and Wright.
Quite rightly so. My first match, I'm getting out the way of the nonsense. So my first match is a 4 quarters match. It's Mantis versus Starfish. So it's the praying mantis versus the starfish versus Short Circuit, which was a robot thing, versus Doug Dillinger. I don't know which one's most bizarre, so I'm going to put over Doug
because I'm bizarre. 1-on-1. So I'm going to keep. Actually, I'm going to get rid of them 2. I'm going to have the match we saw: Juventud versus Ultimo Dragon.
Okay.
And I'm putting Dragon over.
Yeah, thankfully, so the wrong has been righted at the end of the show.
Next match, it's Sting v Rick Steiner. I'm putting over Sting, just a piss better.
Fucking hell, you chose more than one on multiple lines and you chose Sting v Rick Steiner.
What a match.
Wait for the next one.
This harks back to our opening. I've done a triple threat. It's Uncle Monkey versus Benji versus Veal. Those are all sort of THQ people. Yeah. All on different lines. And just because, I mean, I love the idea of Veal. I don't quite know why he's called Veal.
He's really, when you look at him, his might up the corner is all green. For some reason, he is like really strong character in the game.
I'm putting over Veal then.
Well, I've got Veal v Chicken Boy.
I saw Chicken Boy. And I've really used Veal. Chicken Boy. Veal's a boy.
Play some meat matches, will they?
That's true.
Meat match. Right, my next match is Sick Boy v Reese.
God.
You went all these. You crazy.
These are the only ones I could see. I'm putting over Reese.
My next match, tag team match, is Bob and Haku, the Faces of Fear, versus Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko.
Larry went on, and then the rest of all matches.
I could that for an arena. Larry Land.
It was difficult because I was determined to use Arn, but I wanted to use him in a tag team, and I thought, well, I'm going to have to. I can't put him with Bobby Eaton. So I'm going to, and I think Larry and Arn, they were a tag team.
That was, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to put over Arn and Larry.
My next match is a 10-man tag.
What?
Sick Boy Lowney, Horace, Riggs, and Hammer, all on the same row as the Ravens flock.
Yeah.
Versus Spice Whisper, Tiger Spire, and Chad. The Spice Girl.
Yeah. I didn't use
the Spice Girl.
The Spice, well, whatever.
The Nitro Girl.
That's because one of them's called Spice. I'm putting over the Nitro Girl.
That's really something.
I could have put him with Lee Marshall. I think he's on that row, wasn't he?
He got on there.
He's on the Nitro Girl row.
Dirty ball. Right, the next match is Anvil versus Bulldog.
What a match.
I'm putting over Bulldog. He still wants his title shit.
Wasted money. Booker T versus Chris Benoit versus Ricky Rude in my triple threat, and I'm putting over Chris Benoit.
Arn versus Finlay. Arn goes over.
lot of blood in there.
DDP, next match DDP meets Scott Steiner. I got to put over Scott Steiner.
Oh, yeah, he wouldn't let you know.
Exactly.
My semi-main event is the Outsiders of Hall and Nash versus Eddie and Rey Mysterio, and I will put over the Outsiders.
Steiners versus Public Enemy.
Oh,
why not?
Is that on?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
it was on the Ric Flair line.
That means you haven't used Flair then?
No, or Vincent. And I've put over the Steiners or Glacier.
My main event is Ultimo Dragon v Scott Norton.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
the main event.
Love it. Love it.
Ultimo
Looks like it feels like a Thunder card.
It does, there you go.
My main event, I have
Hogan
kept
Flair.
is Hogan Flair. And Flair should win because it's a
Well, I was
celebration.
going to go Hogan Flair, but I'm going Hogan v Piper.
I like how you've done a WCW show headlined by an obvious WWF main event.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it went. I'm going to have a DQ.
Can we see the tape on
Can-
Nitro then?
Yeah, actually, it goes off.
It should have been a title match, but Piper for
We're out of time.
But that, folks, is our fantasy cards. I can guarantee you can find plenty of different match types. There was no pig used or gorilla or whatever else was on that.
Wireframe, man.
Yeah, but do head over to our Twitter page at BCC Pod to let us know if you feel that we missed out anyone. Facebook page is facebook.com/BCC Pod. And our website, where all our back catalogue, including Starrcade 97 and WCW Greed, and our Starrcade special from the month of December, are all kept. We're getting out of WCW now.
Yeah.
We've spent plenty of time recently in WCW. We're heading back. We're heading back home, but we're only heading back 1 year to celebrate all things Royal Rumble.
All things Shane McMahon.
Here comes the Rumble!
Here we go.
As we're checking out our offering from 2022's Royal Rumble ahead of Royal Rumble 2023. Should I ask, are you more excited to be checking out Rumble 2022 or excited to see how they repair Rumble 2023?
I don't know. I'm just going to wait.
No, that bloody, what's the name's going to win it?
Logan.
No, I think he's going to win it, eh?
Cody.
No, that
No,
one who
Bad
fought
Bunny.
right, Bad Bunny. Oh, they should. I hope they do that. I hope Triple H just goes, you know what? Fuck it.
Rob Dobbs going to win it.
Yeah.
Omos. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Almost.
Who's going to win the Rumble? We'll discuss more on our picks.
Rock.
Yeah, it
God.
probably will be Rock.
Boo!
All right, so.
Yeah, he hates Rock. Should have been fucking Ultimo Dragon, shouldn't he, really?
Rick Martel.
But yeah, I think all of us have seen the full show before, but we'll be checking it out again. It's not an overly long Rumble either. It's where they sort of calm down.
Well, there's 2 Rumbles and there's like 4 matches on.
But that's probably the right length. For a Rumble. 4 hours on a Rumble is okay because like 2 matches.
Two of them are 2 hours. 2 of the matches are an hour long. So it's 2 hours.
The issue is when they had 6 hour SummerSlams. That's when it's
Jesus Christ, come on.
So yes, we will be back in the month of January. Well, we'll be back at the end of the month to check out a Royal Rumble. We'll also be doing a Wrestle Cup to celebrate the worst of Rumbles past, to decide who was the worst winner of the Rumble. Sam, do you have an outside sneaky favourite already?
I don't think there's an outside sneaky favourite. I think I know who's going to be. It is going to be Mr. 2011 himself.
And we'll leave it there. We'll leave it hanging there as who was Mr. 2011. And as Sam was so sure that Starrcade's main event from 97 was going to win it.
I still call bullshit on that.
Who knows? It might be Big John Studd. But that leads me
Big John.
to say, from Uncle Monkey himself, is Jack Chan.
Goodbye.
From Veal himself, overpowered because he's full of Boddingtons. He's Sam Chan.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, folks.
Drunk meat.
Hey man, here's Alex Wright, the German. If you want to know what the Germans are about, pick me and you're gonna have a hell of a victory. I promise!